Hello and welcome to another episode of Here Be Dragons. My name is Jared Sarton. I will be the Dungeon Master. We, again, haven't killed them off yet. Have Sarah, Glenn, Jared, and Lindsay as our players. Welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
Again, we don't have our sponsors on our pre-roll, so...
You had like a week.
I had like a week. I had 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I'm writing a big note here. Sponsors.
And you had one job.
Oh, yeah. One job. That's it. So quickly going over our sponsors, we are rolling Blacksmith Craft Dice or Heimdallr Dice. You can find them on Amazon. You can watch chat. Some of their listings will pop up. I've updated the link to their store so you can see all of their lines of dice. Critical Treasures has kindly sponsored us with a few little trinkets and bags and various other things. And I was talking with them. We are going to be having a giveaway as soon as she gets her wonderful advent calendars pulled together. She'll be giving one away on our show. So,
Sarah, you can't win this year.
So keep an eye out. We're going to have those advent calendars as giveaways. And then also, we have Encounter Plus, a virtual tabletop tool that you can use on iOS and on Mac. And finally, what is one? Caffeinated Kobold. It's sitting right in front of me. Game-themed coffee. So this is the Tavern Blend. There's quite a few other blends that they have. Wonderful, tasty caffeination. Yeah. All right. Anything from our players? Any announcements? Anything fun? Any new shows? Any new series that you're all in or sponsoring? Or
I was going to say, just as another note about that advent calendar, is when we opened it, it was awesome. There was a lot of really cool stuff in it. So just thumbs up from us about that. So
And they sell out fast. So definitely watch her page because...
Yeah. They do sell out very quickly. I'll forgive you
The
one
only
second.
thing, the only thing that I think needs to be known by the audience here are that we won't tell you who, but only 2 of us in this cast like boba.
Two people like boba.
That is way below the number.
That is way below the proper average.
Of 100%.
Of 100%. Chat, if you have guesses as to who that is, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll let you know potentially later, or not. Who knows? Awesome. So boba announcement, various other announcements. I'm just trying to make sure my music doesn't overpower me because in my headphone it's loud. Let me know if it's too loud for you guys. Otherwise, I'll just keep going. Cool. So here we are. We are diving back into Crystal Keep. I believe the party was at a party last we had seen them. And while they weren't invited, they still went anyways. At this party, there were a few fancy items that were going up and down through holes in the floor magically on the main level. The party was looking for something, potentially a magical item or 6, but they didn't have quite the direction as to why they needed to bust into this party. What they had understood was it was potentially to do with some of the items they had gathered earlier when they'd met Electrum. Now, they did get a few items here, but they also got themselves trapped on the 2nd floor, where a lot of expensive artifacts were set out and displayed. Now, you'd think, that's the end of this party. Level 2s, they can't go anywhere. Well, they leveled up, so level 3, let's see if they can escape the 2nd floor of the King's Party in the Festival of Lights, Crystal Keep. So as we'd left, the party was on the 2nd floor, and they had just gotten into a few things, broken some of the seals that the magical gems had placed on some of the items in the room. A sword floated to the center of the room, which Eljor had grabbed, and he had met a ghostly suit of armor who seems mildly friendly to him at the moment. They set off a few warning bells as they ended up kind of in a fight with the tour guides. One of the tour guides had knocked down the stairs and then hustled away to get the guards. And that's where we left them, except one more party had entered through a window, an explosion, and a small metallic contraption falls open in the floor, and a little goblin stands up, all disoriented. And he said, "Oh, we figured out how to project things through the air. Oh, we just put a little bit of explosive behind a tube and jammed a ball in the tube, and we were able to shoot me across town." And it was one of their friends, Stock, I believe, from Lock, Stock, and Barrel. And Stock was standing there a little disoriented as he was tumbled around and spun through the window and crashed to the floor. He was looking around at the party, not aware of the armor and not aware of the impending guards that started rushing up the stairs. Party, it's your turn. What is it you do? You hear footsteps hustling up the stairs.
I remember
Sounds like a few.
The last episode, I was getting out my rope and like tying it around the chest and
Oh
throw it
yeah.
out the window.
Fizzlepop was ready to make an escape out the back window, the hole that is now blasted in from Stock. Footsteps are heard as they're hustling up the stairs, metal, like clangs of armor almost. Fizzlepop
Are there
tying the
any
rope. Yeah.
good places to hide up here?
The layout of the building is fairly open. It's a display floor, more or less. That there was some cases of armor. There's a few cases that had weapons and things in them a bit shorter. There's a few curtains that can be drawn to hide bits and pieces of the room if maybe a display wasn't ready to be seen. But there isn't like a easy thing to hide in or around. You'd be able to step out of the way, especially at your size, behind one of these curtains if you wish. But the center of the room is about 15 or 20 feet wide, a stretch that's kind of a hall, the stairs at one end and the blasted in window at the other. So you've got stuff around the edges to step into.
And we're on the second floor?
Second floor, but the first floor was a tall ceiling, about 20 feet up. So it's almost the third floor height if you're in a normal building.
I'm with Fizzlepop. I think we should just go out the window.
So as I'm like getting it tied on, I like stand like against the chest, like up on the chest, and I pull on the rope and lean back to make sure it's like tight.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna throw it out the window, and then I'll look and I'll be like, all right, and I start climbing down the rope.
You're just gonna start hustling out the window.
Yeah.
All right. Corrigan, I believe you had gone down the stairs, correct? You were kind of flying about and trying to not be associated.
Down, and I called the guards to run up here.
Oh yeah, you did.
I expected them to go out the hole, to be honest. That was left.
I was like, some distraction, sending them straight.
Yeah, my deterrence isn't as effective as I thought. But yeah, I'm just kind of following behind the guards at this point and staying ready to jump in and help where I can without getting myself caught.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll see if I can't tell the armor to jump out the hole as well. But I will
How
follow.
far is the window from the ground?
About 30 feet.
Oh, perfect.
So, it looks like Lily and Fizzlepop are climbing out the window and down this rope, and Eljor is just behind. As the two women are climbing down the rope, the chest starts to slide slightly across the floor, as it was a mostly empty chest. It's not moving very fast, but at the given weight, Eljor, you believe you might not be able to hang on to that without it sliding even faster. if you were climbing out the window with.
Okay. Could I ask the armor to hold it down?
Sure. How do you wish to approach that topic? Do you just turn to the armor and say, "Hold this"?
I'm just gonna say, push this down to the ground, friend, in Elvish.
Okay.
Would I be aware of it like sliding as we're going down?
Probably not. It's not sliding very fast. All right. As you speak to the armor moves into action a little bit, and you see uh, one arm go across the top and one go across the front, and it kind of leans back and holds the chest in place, and it stops sliding across the floor almost instantaneously. And then, as soon as the armor gets settled, the wispiness dissipates a little bit. You can hardly tell the armor is there holding the chest at this point.
Okay. I would look out the window or out the window.
The
I'd
wi-
look out the hole and see how far they are from the bottom, and see if I can't wait till one of them is off of the makeshift rope to get down myself. But if the
Yeah.
sounds sound like they're coming too quickly, I'll hop on and start my way down. But I want to be safe.
As you're moving over to the window and looking out, you hear a guard approach the top of the stairs, and across the way, "Hey, hey, you, stop!" He's about 45, 50 feet away and in full armor, so it'll take him a couple seconds to hustle over to you. He's in like royal plate, so nothing like a battle plate. So he has a few weak spots if you decide to engage. As you peek out, though, you notice that Fizzlepop is landing down on the ground, which is the path just between the two buildings. That to the right, as you look out, you'll see the front where all the people are still gathered watching partygoers come in and out of the party, and the town is quite bustling still, a couple hours into this party.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at that point, I think I just need to try and stand my ground and make sure they get away. Honestly. So I'll just wait and brace for the approach of this guy, I guess.
Okay, so this,
Is he standing in the window?
yeah, you see Eljor kind of peek out as you're finishing getting to the ground.
And I see him look out and then like probably turn around, I assume.
Yeah, I would assume, Eljor, correct me if I'm wrong, you only peek your head out briefly and then you turn back in, correct?
Yeah. It feels obvious what I'm supposed to do, so
So I'm like
what I need to do.
I'm like, Elder Man, come on. You jump, I got you.
How far down is it?
About 30 feet.
Aren't you like a quarter of his size?
I got it. You're not gonna get hurt.
I'm just gonna shoo her from out the window and then turn back.
A hand comes out the window.
I go,
Just go.
do you trust me?
Lily, you're now getting down to the ground and hearing Fizzlepop yelling back up, and you seeing her like shouting and waving. Anything you
Are there
wish to do?
windows on the ground floor that are open, like so we could see inside?
There's a few windows with stained glass, very, very
Okay.
ornate. But there's a couple that look like they're on a swivel hinge that are kind of cracked open just a little bit, so that way like airflow can go through. So they're not wide
Yeah.
open, but you can see a little bit into the party.
Okay, I was just making sure because I don't want to be seen while we're out here, especially if we're on the run.
Yeah.
Are there any bushes or trees nearby?
This is a small path about 8 or 9 feet wide. On one side, there's a bit of bushes up against the hall that you were at. On the other side, there's a few little bushes here and there, but there's a couple doorways that are sunken into the building next to you just a little bit. The first one is at the tailor, and then there's one down further that you see a sign hanging out. You think you see potentially an anvil or something on the sign. That's away from the crowd of town. But this first door with the tailor sinks in about 1.5 feet, 2 feet if you need to tuck into a dark area for a little while.
Okay.
outside it is just past dusk, so the light from the sky is diminishing. You get a little bit of moonlight coming down as the moon is just now peeking over some of the buildings across town. But there's torches and stuff that are being passed around, and some of the lamps are being lit out in the main area. It's not casting too much light your way.
Okay. I'd like to back into one of those doorways.
Yeah, the doorway
the
just
tailors.
across. Yep, the doorway just across the tailors. You have a couple of feet to kind of tuck into a pretty dark corner that, without having too many bright or shiny objects on you, you're fairly unnoticeable at a quick glance.
Great. I'm just gonna stay there and try to get my thoughts together because we still have 2 men inside, and there's 2 of us outside.
Yeah.
And we have to get them out, and I'm not sure how to do that yet.
All right. So we'll come back to you two and Eljor in a second. Corey, you're fluttering around downstairs, having just called up the guard. You see one of the lead guards hustle up the stairs, and then 2 follow behind. About 10 seconds later.
There's no the sound of disruption and chaos hasn't come from up there.
You haven't heard any disruption or chaos up there yet, but you do hear some murmurs and hushed tones across the party as you had startled the guard, and one of the tour guides came rolling down the stairs.
I think I'm going to, knowing that people have gone up and not hearing a fight has broken out or anything, I believe I'm going to go and try and find the elvish lady that was from the tavern earlier that got me in.
Yeah.
I don't think I actually ever got her name, but I'm gonna just fly over her, and I want to go very flamboyantly over there through the room to be seen as down here and in the room. I just want to fly up there or fly over to her, and if she's not engaged in a conversation, I'll talk to her, and if she is, I'll just kind of hover on the edges of the conversation. You know how you do at a party where you don't have a group that you belong to, but you know some people, so you kind of hang out by those people. I just want to basically make it so that I'm seen down here.
All right. As you're flying about and trying to make sure people see that you're there, I imagine you get a little bit of your dust, pollen, fairy dust stuff in a drink or two, and you hear, "Oh, hey!" and a couple exclamations that definitely make you know that you've been seen. Being one of the only few flying folk and the only fairy that you've seen, there are a few eyes that turn up to you, and you hear a few gasps as a few people might not have seen you earlier in the party as well. Fluttering about, you do notice that this elven woman is actually near the front door, and she's pulling a very ornate hood up over her head. And there's a couple guard with her, 2 elven men that somewhat came out of nowhere. One you might recognize a little bit as being one talking to the man that she was with in the heated discussion in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And they start kind of moving towards the door, as do a few other folk that look like they may be royalty or nobles for their land, trying to get to safety and trying to be protected, not knowing what's happening upstairs. You do also notice that there's a few others that are just having a good old time, not caring about the mayhem, and still partying in a couple corners if you wish to join a group that's a bit more party going.
I think I'm going to try and slip out. Not necessarily slip out, but leave.
Yeah.
Almost as much as being a part of her entourage as I can.
Okay.
Without being in her entourage.
All right.
So I'll just kind of blend it. I mean, there's not much blending in for me, but yeah.
Turns into giant octopus, flops across the floor, so you're not a fairy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, blending in.
Yeah, I'll just try to make my way to the door and leave with that group of people leaving.
Yeah, you're able to easily do that, as you can be above the heads of most of the party goers, and you're just behind the two guards. And one of the guards kind of looks over his shoulder and notices you, but pays no mind, as you've done well enough to be seen at the party. But you do notice he does keep looking over his shoulder at you, a bit wary of your presence. So you do make it out the front door, and the town is still lively and busy. To your left is where you vaguely believe the window that was blasted in to be where your party, or the rest of your party, is at. If they're still there, or if they had climbed out. But up ahead, there's a few vendors that are just selling all sorts of trinkets and oddities from different parts of various lands. And there's shouts of people just trying to sell to these nobles as they pass through. So it's a bit of chaos and cacophony out here.
I'd travel down the main street for a little bit and then find an alley to duck into, and then I'd go back to the inn and wait, because we didn't really set a rally point. We're not the best thieves. So
yeah, you're able to do that. You do notice that the elven woman goes off to an inn up the road a bit more, around the corner from yours. What you do notice about the inn is it seems to be a bit more guarded. There's a few, it seems to be personal guards out front, and they ask a few back and forth questions which you're unable to hear. And they let the woman in, and then the two guards just kind of give like a fist bump to the one standing outside the building, and they go in and are out of sight. But it does have a very ornate sign that says "in" across the top. You're not able to catch some of the other lettering. It's very dark on the sign. But you make it back to the inn. Now, let's go to where some of this trouble is happening. Eljor. You decide to stand your ground as one of the guards comes rushing over towards you. And when I say rushing, he doesn't wear his fancy armor very often, so it's a very awkward kind of like waddly run towards you, and he stops in front of you and pulls out a sword, and he looks at it for like half a second, as you can tell that this is a very, very beautiful sword, and he wasn't intending to use it. He's wearing all of his like best attire, stuff that is mostly for show. He looks at it and lets out a little huff. "You, sir, what are you doing here?" And he's standing right next to the chest that last you knew your armor, your suit of armor was there. And as he approaches and says, "You, sir, what are you doing there?" you hear footsteps of a couple more guards coming up behind him. They're just breaching the top of the stairs.
Okay. I'm going to speak to him in Elvish to just see if he understands me. I'm going to say, "I know you are, but what am I?" Just to see if... Because if he... Actually, no, I'm going to say, "I was stealing things. Are you okay with that?" In Elvish. "I was stealing things. Are you okay with that?"
Right? You see a puzzled look come across the guard's face briefly. And he says in very, very, very broken Elvish, something along the lines of, "I don't know where the bathroom is. Stop where you are."
I'll smile a bit. I will look around and say, "You should return to your spot, friend. Make your presence not known." Out into the open in Elvish. And then I'm just going to look at him and put my hands up.
As you do that, you see very slow ripple of fog kind of move from the box. Very, very small amounts. You know that it's there, but it's a dusty chaos right now as the window has been busted in. So it's very much not noticeable to those around. And you see the armor kind of move off to the side, but stop only a few steps away, as to just be out of the way, but ready to be a part of the action. The guard, however, looks at you and kind of looks up and around, and then he in common. Are you a religious man? You're speaking to your gods.
Yes.
Well, I'm gonna ask you to stand down, drop any weapons you have on you, and follow us. And the two other guards kind of come over, huffing and puffing, and they pull their swords out and point them in your general direction as well.
Very well. And I take any weaponry I have. Let me look at my be under equipment. There it is. I take the sword of the sword that I had just picked up. I have some arrows. I've got a couple daggers, a rapier, and a short bow. And I just set them all down on the ground.
As you set all of them,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
as you start setting all of them down on the ground, the sword that you just picked up that's very much similar to the set of armor. As it moves, it lets off all the steam and smoke and shows its presence. You set it down, it makes no sound and almost hovers instantly up. And between the guards towards the center of the room, the guards are all confused and they all turn and look at the sword as it floats past and then just sits hovering in the center of the room, just kind of eking smoke and steam off of it to show that it's there. The two guards in the back whisper to one another and slowly approach the sword with their swords out, thinking that it could be something possessed or under your control, and they're wanting to guard their backs. The guard that initially came up and talked to you has his sword even closer to you and pointed out, and he squints a bit. I don't know what tricks you're playing. Command your sword to drop.
If I could, I would. But I was simply on a tour and came over here and I saw this box with this thing tied to it. There was after I heard a loud noise and a bunch of people just ran out. I didn't see any of their faces, but I heard their voices. I don't know if they're here anymore, but I feel like you might be losing whoever did this. I was simply on a tour.
You roll deception on that for me, please.
Okay. All right, here we go. Let's see if my deception's any good. Pretty almost average. Thanks, D&D Beyond. 7.
7. Oof. Well, as you speak about what had just happened in front of you, the guard leans in and stares you down even more. A tour, you say? This sword looks like one that was supposed to be in keeping up here. And he looks around and notices that the gemstones on a bunch of the cases are dislodged, and some of the artifacts are either open to the air or missing. And he gets a bit panicked and shouts, "Sweep the area! Sweep the area!" And the guards all split in different directions. The main guard stands kind of close to you, but is looking around and peeking corners just to be a bit more wary of what could be up here.
For full transparency, sir, I did find this, when I came to this space, I did find that this was... I forgot that I had an accent, that's fun. I did find that this sword was dislodged at some point during the chaos, so I was holding on to it, but of course I wouldn't take it. This is possession of the king. That would be wanton disregard for my own life. I would be killed.
The guard continues to look at you, both not wanting to believe you, but also mildly surprised that you're giving him so much information. And as he's watching you and taking in your information, he's continuing to eye the room and steps right next to the suit of armor that shifts back, and you kind of see it glow a bit. Outside, we have Fizz and Lily, and they get down and they're yelling at you, and you kind of wave a hand, and a couple moments later, Fizz, you're able to hear some muffled yells that seem like someone approaching Eljor. And while you don't know Eljor very well, the yells are a bit more gruff than you would expect. Lily, you're able to also somewhat hear this, but the party and the street are a bit loud, so neither of you can make out what is being said and who's being approached.
Could I roll a check for it? Or is that
yeah,
just
you could
that's
you
just
could
what I
roll
hear?
perception. You can roll perception to see if you get any more information than what the DM has described.
5. So I'm guessing that's a no.
You do hear that one of the sellers is selling some sweet rolls out in the main area, and they're very loud, and that echoes through the corridor, but you're not able to understand what's going on in the building
Sounds
up on the second floor.
delicious, but I must stay at the task at hand. Okay. Thank you.
Is anything you wish to do while you're out here with Lily, hearing some of the yells upstairs?
But I can't hear like what they're saying.
You can't quite tell what they're saying, but you hear a gruff voice yelling out. And then you might think you hear some talking back, like just a response, not like back talk per se.
Mm-hmm. I guess I would like stop and try to like wait it out for a minute, because it's not like there's a lot I can do where I'm at, and I don't know if trying to climb back up will make it worse.
Maybe we should just wait until it gets quiet again and then try calling him.
Wait, I gave you guys cell phones?
No.
They used to call me on my
Although we
cell
should.
phone.
Although we should.
For
New
situations
rule.
like this.
New rule.
I pull out a couple tin cans. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, there's not a lot I can do from down here, especially without hurting him.
Just blasting a hole in the building.
I'm not Valari.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think maybe we should move away from the building and hide in the brush instead?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not too worried about hiding personally right now. I mean, we're already outside.
I'm kind
So-
of sort of hiding.
I have this like shiny coat on.
Yeah, you're noticeable if people come walking down and looking your direction. As you're thinking,
I don't know.
just a reminder,
Wait, isn't Stock up there?
Stock had tucked around into one of the curtains.
Okay,
As you were
I'm
climbing
gonna
down.
try and like climb up the rope just to see if I can like maybe hear something or
Okay.
peek in and see something.
Can I get 2 athletics checks from you, please? And as we're doing this, just a reminder, we do have the hype boss, and the hype boss only has 22 HP. And with that, if you knock the hype boss out by follows, bits, subs, tips, etc., you can be the new hype boss and give somebody on screen a nat 20 to roll instead of a d20. They just get to call it a nat 20. So Fizz, how are we doing? How were your athletics checks?
Oh, a 5 and a 10.
You kind of scramble up a bit and lose footing, and then scramble up a bit more. But on the second one, you feel like you're pulling up nicely on the rope, and it seems to give way on you a little bit as you kind of put a bit of pressure on it. Upstairs, as the guards are looking around with a sword pointed in Eljor's direction, the chest slides across the floor a little bit. And as the chest slides across the floor a little bit, the lead guard with the sword at Eljor rushes past him and leans out the window and sees a kobold trying to scramble up the side. You briefly stop and lock eyes with this guard, and the guard looks at you, and you hear, "Hey, what are you doing down there?" And then the guard tucks back in. Eljor, you nearly get knocked off your feet as the guard rushes past you and bumps into your shoulder and starts hustling down the stairs. The two other guards are off on the far end. One of them kind of peeks down the stairs and looks around and waves to the other and follows the lead guard down. But there's only one remaining guard kind of tucked in one of the back corners looking through what's in the room. Fizz, you're unsure if the guard just tucked back in, but you heard some stomping briefly. You may try to continue climbing if you wish, or you can...
I assume I'm about halfway.
Yeah, you're about halfway up. You can have another 15 feet. So another athletics check should get you all the way up there if you're not bad at them with a 5. Come on. But Lily, you do see the head of the guard pop out and yell at Fizz as she stops briefly.
It was a missed opportunity for Eljor to just push him out the window.
Not evil.
Not evil.
Murdering or unknowing out of shape guard.
Can I just hang out there for a moment?
You're just going to hang off of the side of the building?
Well, I've got my feet on it, so I'm just holding the rope. Like, I'm...
Yeah, you can hang
just
out there for a
moment.
minute.
And I'm going to have Featherfall. I keep meaning to say this. I'm going to have Featherfall readied in case I have to, like, cast that on anyone.
Okay.
I'm going to yell up at Fizzlepop and say, "Hey, we got to get out of here." Because I know that they're coming our way. So I'm going to take off running and hide in the nearest tree.
In the nearest tree is actually out towards the front of the building. It's about a 25-30 foot tall tree. The trunk is fairly thick for how small the tree is, but you could climb up into its very dense branches. It's very nicely manicured, so you can see that it's got a nice solid round shape that, if knowing trees yourself, you might be able to find a good spot to pop out the top if they've trimmed it very tightly, if you need to get a perspective, or you can just hide in there if you wish.
Perfect. I just want to hide.
Okay, so you're hustling up front, and you see Corrigan fluttering across the main part of town, up over the heads of most. As you get up to the tree, you see that you can climb it. Give me an athletics check at advantage.
Athletics. Six.
Was that at advantage?
Yep.
Oh man, 6 at advantage. What's going on with your rolls tonight?
These rolls are really bad tonight.
In all fairness,
the first one was a 3.
Ooh. I played a game with a few coworkers earlier this week, and everyone using digital dice was getting like 3s and 5s, and that was all they were getting. So, D&D Beyond, you need to update your code, people.
Right? I may have to pull out some real die.
If you want to roll real die, go for it. Okay, so you kind of clamber up the tree and then slip a little bit, and you're able to get on the first branch, which is barely out of view. And that's as far as you can get, hoping to have gotten much further up. But there's a few kids nearby, and they look over and see you, and you hear some giggles. And one kid tries to climb up the tree behind you and just can't. And he laughs and he runs off and goes trying to climb another tree that's a bit further into the center of town. But you didn't go fully unnoticed. You're out of the way of any guards or whatnot. So, to let everybody know where we're at, we have Fizzlepop kind of half climbed up the building to get back into the second level. We have Lily hanging out in a tree near the front of the building. Corrigan's going off to get a beer at the inn while he waits for the rest of the party to show up. And Eljor was nearly knocked off of his feet as 2 of the 3 guards hustle down the stairs to go after Lily and Fizz. I guess let's go to Corrigan for a minute. You get into the inn. The barkeep looks at you and kind of looks at the door for a moment. The inn's fairly quiet as most of the people are outside. There's a table with only like 2 people at it off in the corner. The barkeep looks at you and goes, "Oh, so where's the rest of your friends? I thought you came in with a group of people."
Yes, I thought I did, but let's just say we're different types of partiers when it comes to social status. I managed to, if you recall the party I asked about earlier this evening, I managed to secure myself an invite, and I was making the rounds and meeting the king. No big whoop.
So,
But I don't know where they got off to. They're not as, and I do like a twirl, fancy as I am.
well, if you're waiting up for them, I can get you a pint or something to drink if you want.
Yeah, let me get your finest fey wine, and we'll wait. And I love people watching. My accent's changed a little bit, I know.
The party will do that to you. You'll meet other types of people, and you'll just change your accent for them. Well, there's a nice stool up by the window there. I can bring a small glass for you of our wine. And you see him kind of dig under the countertop and pull out a big old wooden container of sorts. And he pulls the top off gently, and nestled within there's shredded scraps of paper that has a very fancy ornate bottle laying in the middle of it. He pulls this out and goes, nobody ever drinks this stuff. But he pops it open, and a very strong, sweet odor just like permeates the room almost instantaneously. And he pours a glass, and the people a few tables down are looking around and like sniffing up in the air, like, what is going on? What do we smell? And he, as soon as he caps the drink, the sweetness dissipates a bit more, and it's just kind of a lingering odor around the glass as he sets it in front of you, and kind of gives out a little laugh as he walks back to the bar. And you're able to sit in the front window and see the happenings out the front of the building, which faces just a little bit of the main town center where some of the party going is happening, but it faces a little bit down a road too. There's got some beautiful shops at it as well.
I just want to keep an eye out, essentially, like if they come in hot and they need some help or whatnot, I'll be out the ready.
All right,
for that
perfect.
situation.
Perfect. So now that you have a drink in front of you and you're kicked back and relaxed, kind of, let's go to Eljor, who is probably stabling himself at this point and getting ready to do whatever Eljor does. We get to learn.
Yeah.
Eljor, there's one guard up there. You believe everyone has left. You weren't quite sure about the goblin friend that had showed up, if he made it out the window or is still hiding up top. And you know you've got your armor somewhere.
There's the one guard left. The other 2 had dissipated, yes?
Yeah, they just dissipated into thin air. No, they went down the stairs. Yeah,
I guess
they dispersed. Yeah, they went down the stairs.
They dissipated. They just turned into water vapor. I will just go, oh my gosh, keeping my hands up, and I'll say, I do remember there was somebody in the box weighting it down so they could use it.
The guard on the far end looks around and slowly steps towards you, kind of peeking in all of the corners as he does. So you say there was someone in the box with a rope tied to it?
Yeah, I mean, it was empty, so otherwise it wouldn't have been able to anchor them to the ground. And then they needed to climb out the window, it looked like.
Who leaves? Wow, these bandits are not bright, huh?
Terrible
Man.
bandits, I agree.
And he steps over and is kind of keeping his sword up towards you a little bit and puts a hand out and lifts the top of this chest and looks in. There's no one in the chest.
Misty step behind him and push him in.
You misty step behind him and push him in, and the guard like falls in, and his legs are dangling out. He's a smaller human, about 5'6", so a little shorter than you. And the chest is big enough that if you really got a good heave ho, you could kind of lock him into it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say terribly sorry about this.
As you're doing that, you hear some giggles, and you hear, "Ow, ow, I'll help!" And Stock comes rushing up, and he's like pushing the guard's head down a little bit. He's like, "Okay, I think he's good. And you're getting him in the guard the whole time, and flailing a bit. You're able to close the lid if you wish to do so. It's got a couple latches that'll come down to prevent the lid from like just popping open, but you don't see any locks nearby.
Oh yeah, latch it. And then I'm gonna say we should go. And then I'll say in Elvish, follow us out the window.
Okay. So as you shout that in Elvish, the box is now weighted a bit more, and you see you see Stock running up, and he grabs the rope and starts sliding down, and he goes, "Oh, hey!" And you, Fizz, you see this goblin butt come sliding down towards you and stop, and then a face. Hey, Fizz, we need to get down.
All right,
please.
And I just like slide down.
You slide down, and Stock drops right next to you. Yes, goblin butt, because we don't have enough of that. So Fizz and Stock are standing at the bottom.
It's taking me longer to find my emotes. Hold on.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So Fizz and Stock are chilling at the bottom of the rope. Eljor, I believe it's your turn to go. Do you wish to climb out?
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can't locate whether or not my armor friend has heard what I said. Maybe listen for footsteps, to see if he's making his way this way.
You look around a bit and you see a bit of a misty armor movement towards you. Silent in its sound, as it's a very ghastly thing. It doesn't clank like the armored box now, or the box full of an armored person. It's rattling and thumping, and you hear so the counterweighted rope allows you to climb down it. You see the armor just kind of like step up and over through the window and just drop down, not even grabbing the rope. Nothing. Fizz, next to you and Stock.
I would also like to be grabbing my weapons while I'm doing that.
Yeah, go for it. There is the sword floating in the middle of the room still.
Yeah.
All right, so you grab that as well. Perfect. Fizz, next to you and Stock, this foggy suit of armor drops and then stops, and the fog disappears, and the armor almost like disappears as well, because it's not moving. It's not really emitting any fog to tell you that it's there. I believe you'd seen it upstairs, correct? But Stock wasn't fully aware, and you hear, "Ah!" And then he's like clambering up behind you and holding onto you and peeking over your shoulder.
It's okay. The tin can's with us.
Tin cans with us. The goblin slowly releases his grasp on you, but hides behind you the whole time. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Hello?
It's around here somewhere.
Are they all on the ground now?
In just a moment, Eljor is able to slide down and join them, just a couple seconds behind the armor dropping out.
Okay.
Lily, you're able from your perspective to kind of pop your head down and see them all getting out the window. But at this point, you do see a couple guard also rushing out the front door and start hustling a bit through the crowd. They're slow. It'll take them a handful of moments to get over towards even like the hall to look down at the group. But you see them making their way towards where the others have dropped out.
I would like to start going caw 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 to see if I can get their attention, to have them come either this way or hide or be aware of the guards.
Perception from Eljor and Fizz. Nope.
Is it daylight?
No, it's dark out, so you don't have to worry about that.
That's a 17.
That sticks.
Eljor, you hear caw caw, and Stock also hears that, and he's behind Fizz. That's a strange bird sound. What?
What a bird.
You're
Not that I
able,
recognize.
you don't recognize the bird sound. It does sound very much human made or non-bird made, non-aviary. And you
Sorry, I
notice the
assumed there. I was
direction.
like, I grew up in the wild, so I think I would recognize.
Yeah, you
things.
see the direction, and you see 2 feet kind of dangling out of the tree, and a little bit of like some hair dangling down. Either a small child or one of your party has climbed into that tree and is making noise at you.
It's me. It's me. It's me. All right. How close are the guards to them now?
The guards are making their way kind of up and around your tree at the moment. They're about 15 feet outside of it. You're up on a little bit of a raised grass patch, and they're following the cobble out and around. And like I said, there's a lot of vendors and a lot of people, so they're not pushing through very hard or fast as to not startle everybody in the town square. But they're kind of moving with a little bit of haste, meaning they probably will be in eyesight of your party within 10 seconds.
Can I make like an insight
that-
check to determine what that person may be trying to insinuate with the caw?
Sure, insight away.
As myself, it feels pretty obvious, but I don't know how Eldor would respond to that. So,
Fair.
I got a 12.
Ooh.
Eldor, you understand that when human children and some other races make an animal sound, usually it's to gain attention without being spotted themselves, mostly as like a evasive or elusive action. So even though the elven kind don't participate too often in that silly mechanism of warning, you understand that to be potential warning, maybe for you or others in the area.
Okay. I say, guys, I think we should go.
And as you look around, you notice Lily isn't around here. You just have Fizz, the armor, and this other little goblin.
Did Fizz perchance see where I ran off to? Was she minding her own business with the rope?
Wasn't I climbing it?
You are climbing and kind of scurrying and scrambling. If you want to roll an perception to see if you have seen that in your clamoring.
I rolled like poo tonight. Yeah, no, I didn't see nothing.
No. 5, huh?
No.
You saw nothing. You probably caught the same whiff of the sweet rolls being sold down the way,
Ooh.
which is now just out of like
I mean-
eyesight of where Lily's at.
I'm pretty focused on the fact that this elf has my bag. That is my home. And all my stuff in it. So
Yeah, so Eljor, do you hustle in any direction or do you hide? What do you wish to do?
I was
with
going to
your-
say, what do you hear with your elf ears? Do we, I mean, with my passive, would I like hear the sound of those, kind of ornamental armored guards kind of like making their way here? And from what direction? Because like, if I can, I'll go the other
I
way.
think that you might not hear the guards themselves. It is a fairly busy evening out, so there's noise everywhere. You may be a bit more sure that there's 2 entrances and exits. One back behind you, the area that most of you went in for pretending like you were part of the help, and then one up front, which maybe the rougher of the 2 to exit if you're chasing somebody. So potentially in your knowledge, you would understand that the front is closer, but could alert more people. So if you keep an ear that direction, you may hear alerts but you don't hear anything yet.
So I think I would just try and direct everyone to move away from the party, like whatever the opposite direction of like. So if they're on the right, and I know that's the entrance where all the people are clamoring around, which I think is what you had said,
Yeah,
like past the
so
tailors and everything, I would just
Yep.
be like, "Let's go that way."
yeah, so if you're looking at it here, we'll just pretend this is the street. You guys are down here. The rest
Mhm.
of the town is up at this area where all the noise is coming towards you. Going down on the map will get you towards the back of this hall that you were at. It's quieter that direction. You don't hear anything clamoring down the street towards you from that direction. But there's also plenty of cover up ahead, and that's where the cacaw came from, is up ahead. So up towards the town center. So you have an ally towards the town center, and then potential escape away from the town center.
I think I'm gonna see if I can get everyone to go away.
All right. So you head away from the town center. Fizz, I assume, because what you said about your bag, you're just following along, correct?
Yeah, well, I'm following him because I need to make sure I get my bag back.
Yeah, you've also got a goblin that's nearly tripping over you as you're hustling, and he's looking around, still scared of this armor that
I'm
he
like,
had noticed.
damn it, man! Watch where you're walking.
And you guys are able to make it towards the back a bit. There's a little cove that looks like it's a serene garden. There's a couple stone benches, a tree that is in full bloom with bright pink flowers. So petals are kind of slowly raining down in the area. You can take a left as you're heading down this pathway, and it gets you back behind the building. To the distance, though, you see a few of the help kind of out on their break. You see some smoke rising up from one dwarven man's pipe. So there's folks that direction, but there's a little alcove that's got a garden if you wish to just hide there as you're hustling down the road. But Lily does see the guards kind of come around the corner, and they catch very small glimpse of the party that's hustling away into the darkness that is between these this hall and the sets of shops. Lily, you're able to hear a bit of murmuring about not sure if that was them. Did they go into the crowd? And the few guards are kind of just wandering about, slowly looking around, almost aimlessly. They're not sure who or what to be looking for at this point.
Okay. I'm just gonna sit and watch just to make sure that they don't follow the party.
Yeah.
If they do follow the party, I would like to pursue, but as of right now, I just want to stay where I'm at until the coast is clear.
All right. Not immediately do you see anyone go down the hall or down the path between the shops, but they do kind of slowly lurk about the crowd near your tree and the pathway between the shops, keeping an eye out for whatever could be happening. Uh, Eljor and Fizz, let's go back to you briefly. Do you wish to continue back towards where some of the help and staff are taking their break, or do you want to hide in the garden, or do you want to break into one of the shops? What is it that you want to do with your slightly newfound freedom?
My vote is garden, but
Well, I'm running behind you, so
sweet. I'm just gonna go straight into the garden.
Straight into the garden. There's no one here. It's about a 30 by 30 foot clearing. There's a small koi pond in the center. The large tree is in the back corner with the wall of the edge of the city kind of built up next to it and around the tree,
Mhm.
as if they didn't disturb it while building this part of the wall. The wall is very old here, so this is one of the older parts of the city. It seems to be near the front of the city and up on a raised hill. The wall is only about 4 or 5 feet tall, so you're able to kind of peek up and over and see down into the valley, back on the southeast side of this beautiful town. And as you look towards the valley, you do notice the river running through it, and it's very serene out there. There's a bunch of lights on passing boats and vessels. that are moving slowly through this river. It's a beautiful sight to behold. It's very quiet in this corner. You hear nothing rushing down the hallway towards you, and the benches are open. They seem to have some engravings of whoever they were commemorating, but over the last couple hundred years, it's been worn to almost unreadable, and it's a peaceful spot to sit. Anything you wish to do here? Just hang out, keep an eye, go take a nap on a bench.
I was gonna say, I think get behind something big enough to hide us. So like a decent sized tree or a bush or something like that.
Yeah, there's a couple bushes, but the benches themselves are quite large. And when I say bench, they're essentially like a stone slab that has been carved into more or less like a couch-like structure. So hiding behind one of them is pretty easy to do, even for a taller person like yourself.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
The armor rushes in and slows down, and you see the armor kind of move by the koi pond and then sit down on a bench, almost as if to enjoy this serene moment. Potentially a place that the armor, if it was ever living, has spent time there in the past. A few minutes go by. Lily, you don't see anyone rush down the hall. They actually start moving towards the front of the building where the party's being held. And you see a few more guard approach and stand in that area, and just kind of survey the crowds going in and out. They seem to be a bit more skeptical of those going into the party, very much slowing them down, talking to them a bit more before they enter. And fairly skeptical of a few partygoers as they leave, because they aren't quite sure who was in on this mess. But it's fairly clear here, and a few minutes go by. No one's noticing or caring, and the town is still staying very lively.
Okay. If the coast is clear, I would like to start making my way back to the inn.
Yeah, with fair ease, you're able to make it back to the inn without bumping into any guards. You do see quite a few of these vendors starting to slowly pack up for the evening, as it is now getting into not the late of the evening, but definitely easing into hours that people are starting to turn in for the night, whatever their nightly rituals are. It's still loud and still people moving about, but a little bit less so than earlier in the evening. And as you make your way back to the inn, you see some glowing fairy wings fluttering a little bit in the window, watching your direction. Corrigan, do you do anything as you notice Lily walking up towards the inn?
It's just Lily by herself.
Just Lily by herself, yeah.
I make a movement just to be seen in the window.
Yeah.
So that she'll know where to come.
Yeah,
I don't want to be like, yo, over here.
What's up?
Hey, gal.
Toodles.
Yeah, you're in the front window, so you're fairly noticeable. The windows are very, very clear and well kept and cleaned, so she can see you as she approaches and steps into the inn. Lily, do you have anything you wish to do here?
As soon as I come in, I'd like to, take a look around just to see if maybe I recognize any of the people in there as the guards.
Yeah, there's
the coast is.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Going. I was gonna say internet. Okay, rock,
if
paper, scissors for who goes. I win. The coast is clear. You walk in, there's only a couple people sitting at a table. They're enjoying a conversation and a drink. There's a few empty glasses at their table, and to the best of your knowledge, it's just Corey and those folks in the bar. The bartender kind of peeks out from the back and gives you a little wave as if like to let you know he's available if you need anything. that he sees your presence in the inn. So you can approach him or Corey or whatever you wish to do, and you're in the clear.
Right. I would like to approach Corey and just ask, hey, have you seen the rest of our party?
Oh, not you're the first one to make it back here. What exactly happened?
They left before I did. I thought they would have been here already.
Well, I've been watching, and I've not seen hide nor head nor tail of them. Let's give it a little bit more. Maybe they went a little serpentitious to get back here. So let's give them a little bit of time.
Maybe. Okay. At that time, I would like to wave on to the waitress or waiter or cook or whatever to get a drink.
Yeah, the barkeep approaches and just kind of goes, just a very nonchalant greeting to you.
I would love a cup of tea if you have any.
Yeah. Would you like any sweetener with that?
No, thank you.
All right. He hustles to the back. Your tea is on order. We do have a $5 tip from Cadence.
He says, "You know what to do with it."
Yeah. There is a mild magic scroll here, and it's a -2 to your next check. Cadence, you've been asking for it. I'm sorry. Corey, on your next check, you have a -2.
Is Cadence also the new hype boss?
Cadence is the new hype boss. So, Cadence, if you want to let us know who gets that nat 20, do so in the chat. Thank you for that. With our party split and settled for the moment, we're actually going to take a slightly earlier break. A few of the doggos here are in need of some exercise and or ability to relieve themselves. So we're going to be on break for about 10 or so minutes. You'll hear our theme song and you'll know it's time to come back. So yeah, we will see you all in a few minutes, and we'll look forward to who the Cadence gives. Oh, there we go. Fizzle Pop, you got the nat 20.
To Jared DM.
Well,
thanks.
Thanks, Cadence. We'll see you all in just a few minutes. And we're back. All of the dogs have been watered. All of the owners have been walked. And I think all is well for the next 26 minutes. Until they decide to get into something or squeak a toy. But that's what dogs are for. Yeah, so welcome back. We have the party split, but they're in 2 pods now instead of all individually. I've seen quite a few memes recently about splitting the party, and they're all great. I'll have to put some in our Discord. So
he's also seen a lot about rogues lately too.
Oh yeah, about rogues and various other things. But speaking of Discord, we do have a Discord. You can join us. Look below the video if you're watching this live on Twitch, and you can see stream elements. Thanks, Gobshite, for popping that in there. We want to have your pretty faces in our Discord, and we want to talk to you, because that's fun. And being fun is what my whole job is. I'm the fun master. So let's have some fun in Discord, and I'll post some of those memes about splitting the party, and why DMs absolutely love that, and how it's the best thing in the... No. Fellow DMs in the room are all probably having flashbacks and horror stories pop through their head, eyes twitching, and
I was to say Glenn and Jared are both like twitching over there now.
Glenn and Jared are just like, we're gonna split the party longer. We're gonna see how long it takes to break our DM.
Not only are we gonna keep the party split, We're gonna have multiple divergent storylines and no combat.
And we're gonna find a portal to a different dimension and send one of our party there. We're gonna send someone else on a different plane, and like we do. But yeah, now that we're back and we're looking at our two groups of the party, before we dive back into the story, speaking of alternate dimensions and portals, this is a 5-week month, and also the 5th week falls on the Halloween weekend.
Spooky.
So we tend to do spooky episodes. So we get a 3rd show in October, and it's our spooky episode. So we'll have a slightly horror or more scary theme to the event. We do hope you join in. It's an extra show. You get extra us. Scald's Tale spooky. Yes. That's our chant. Thank you. We'll get this timed. The internet makes it hard to time the spooky, but
We timed it right anyway.
even in person, you were all just off.
Well, I think it was mostly me, but
Spooky.
See, we will see you guys 3 times this month. But for now, we go back to a serene garden, just back behind the hall where the party is being held. They can't hear that, but I'm hearing Lindsay over here going. So that's what you all missed with fancy microphone settings. But the party is starting to quiet down a little bit. Not go quiet, but starting to be one where you believe it will wrap up in the next hour or two. We have in this little serene garden with the pink petaled tree up above, dropping some of its petals here and there, we have Eljor, Stock, a little goblin friend, and Fizz, as well as a ghastly set of armor that is sitting in more or less
ghastly or ghostly?
ghostly, ghastly, whatever, similar difference. Staring off into the koi pond last you all saw. It's been quiet for a couple minutes. For all you know, you're in the clear, hiding behind your stone bench. Eljor, Fizz, do you have anything you wish to do here?
I mean, I'm just being cautious. I'm gonna wait until I know for sure those guys are gone.
Guards.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll find them here. Can I have my bag though?
Oh, do I have that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why you're so aggressively following me. I get it. Sure. And I just hand it to her.
You hand the slightly bloated pouch to her, and she grabs it fairly quickly. And I'm assuming you stare into it, or
Yeah, I
you throw
look
it back.
into it, kind of take a quick inventory.
Yeah, as you peep your head in, the giant stone, the emerald of sorts that has the eye within it. The eye turns and looks up at you, and in the back of your head you hear, "Interesting space."
Are you good?
He doesn't respond to your question, but just kind of turns and looks around the room, almost carefree in this moment.
Okay, I'm gonna assume you're good then. All right. Just hang tight. And I close the bag. He's good. Don't worry about it. I don't know. I don't need to ask next time.
So you're sitting there, and Fizz is just kind of looking into her bag and is happy with whatever the result was that she had found. Fizz, do you move out? Do you hang out behind the bench? Do you guys hang here for hours, minutes, days?
Should we just head back to the inn?
I think that'd be safe. Seems like a normal spot to head to. And I'm sure, because we still have the goblin boys with us, right?
Yeah, you still have little Gabo with you.
Doc, right?
Stop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Stock.
are we responsible for you, or are you going home, or what's happening here?
We got a babysit.
I'm scared of the guards and the armor.
Uh,
The armor's just staring into the pond like he's gonna murder all those fish.
Do you know your way home?
Come on, I love this city.
Okay.
The town center is. He looks around for a second. That way, and he points, mildly unsure, and just hustles down the direction you all had come towards the town center.
Well, I guess that one's taken care
And just
of.
kind of waves over his head at you all. He nearly bumps into a couple, both kind of swaying back and forth, holding hands and talking to one another, walking towards the garden. Looks like they had come from the party, but have had a few too many, just enjoying their evening, stumbling through the quiet pathway near the building.
Okay, well that one's taken care of. So I guess we can go.
Head on back to the barn. Yeah.
So,
Do you hustle? Do you walk? Do you stealth? What do you wish to do in this stretch of pathway up to the town center?
I think it would be wise to just not make a scene in any way.
yeah, like probably just act normal.
Acting normal as Fizz is wearing the sparkly, glowy garb. The attire that when she moves, it kind of sparkles and crackles, but when she stops, it looks like a normal bit of cloth.
Is there a way you could put that inside?
Can I try turning it around, like inside out?
You turn it inside out. It still crackles kind of down at your feet and underneath, and you see it kind of sparkling below, but it's slightly more hidden. You have your normal clothing on underneath. This isn't like the only thing you're wearing if
No,
you should do
no.
anything else with.
I know, it's just my bag is kind of crowded, and I don't want to make the guest uncomfortable. And is this okay?
Based on what I've seen of everybody's like attire, people are all wearing stuff that is kind of cool in one way or another, right?
All sorts of things. Even in the
Okay.
town center, you still see glowing orbs and such, whether or not they're worn or floating around some of the people who didn't make it to the party. This is like the opening ceremonies of a festival that'll be going on all week. So everyone's decked out in overly fancy and obnoxious gear almost.
Okay. You'll be all right.
I'm gonna return it to Hangar 87 later.
Okay.
I forgot about that.
There's some smaller being without their fancy sparkly garb. Thanks. Fizz.
Hopefully they're
It's
too
the
drunk
most
to remember.
But could you carry this for me? And I just like shoved that apron in his hands from earlier.
You were still holding that?
I still have it, yeah.
Okay.
It's all folded up. Remember, I kept folding it up nice.
Yeah, I would just take it.
Yeah, so Eldor, you have in your care a fancy apron. It's one that would
It's
be at
just-
a party.
It's given it under the pretense that I was actually gonna wait
Oh.
tables at the end.
Oh, that was the inn's apron. Yes. So
Yeah.
I don't. It's this whole thing, and it'll just be easier if you can just
the
leave it at the bar counter or something. You're the row. You can figure it out.
So
You're
this
the
apron
row.
actually
I'm like walking.
this apron actually has an emblem of a dragon's head on it, very much like this. Just on the front, light emblazoned into the apron. It's not a very fancy apron, but it definitely seems to be, part of the bar that you're going back to.
Yeah, I'll just kind of twist it up a little bit and throw it over my shoulder. So no logos are seen. It just looks something, a piece of cloth over my shoulder is all.
Yeah, there you go. As you walk down the pathway, the couple kind of brushes past you, and you hear the guy, "Is the park open or is it closed for the night?" oh, whatever. And he just keeps walking. And they go hang out by the koi pond. You haven't seen the armor join you, though.
I'm just gonna say something quietly in that direction before we leave towards
Right.
where I know the armor is.
Yeah.
And
he
I'm
was-
just gonna say, I'm gonna say, please follow us.
Yeah, so the armor starts to stand up in a little bit of a ghostly form, follows behind. But it moves at a snail's pace, like half of a step every couple seconds in order to not be very visible.
Mhm.
It still lets out a little bit of steam and smoke, so if you wish to hang back, you may, and walk incredibly slow, or you can walk
Yeah.
with normal pace and try to.
I will. I walk slowly, just ever so slightly in front of him, just kind of like looking around at the sky and the stars and all of these things that are happening here because it's a festival. I'm enjoying my time.
All right. So as
And
you're
I'm just thinking about like, you're following me into this the whole thing, and now you're following me out. I guess where there's a way in, there's a way out. Just walking.
so Fizz is just doing her own thing and moving forward. Fizz, you start to get ahead of Eljor by a bit as he seems to be like kicking every pebble he sees and like dawdling behind you at this rate. Do you wish to walk his pace or just head wherever you wish to go?
Would I have like noticed that he's doing that?
Af-
Because if I'm like walking and I'm like,
After a few moments, if you are turning to speak to him, you'll notice it. But if you don't turn to speak to him, you're just going to be speaking to thin air and continuing through the
well, I
crowd.
think I imagine that he's just like,
She's just doing her kobold thing, talking and gesturing and walking off into the crowd. Fizz, where is it that you wish to head?
to the end.
To the inn. Awesome. Off to the inn. Eljor, you are taking your sweet time.
Because I imagine there's no shops open that
there's-
would distract me.
There's very few shops open. There's a few peddlers kind of still packing up their stuff. There's one that might catch your eye. A young man wearing a very burnt up, not like burnt to the core, but like burn marks across a leather apron. He's packing up very carefully a bunch of small metallic objects that are shooting out sparks and glowing above each of them. And he twists each object quickly, and it stops emitting its light or sound or whatnot, and puts it in a bag. And he's got only a few more in front of him, and he's carefully twisting and putting them in the bag.
I think the flashes
Mhm.
would catch my attention, and I'm like, kind of like.
He
walking.
notices you kind of walk over. Oh, hey, these sparkle gigs are I got a couple more if you want to buy one, but I'm closing up for the night.
What are they?
Well, they're this little device that I worked on. I call it a sparkle gig. So you twist the two parts here, and when they're twisted really tight together, it enacts the magic within. And he kind of leans in and looks at you. It's actually just a stone, and there's a reaction inside, and it shoots sparks out. It's part magic, part not, but you know, but it's a sparkle gig, and he like kind of shows it off to a few passing kids. It's not shooting just a spray of sparks; it's actually shooting sparks up, and they form a shape. The one in front of you seems to be a star that's rotating almost in like 3D. And just spinning there. One of the ones he had just put in previously was a rainbow of bright colors, and you thought you might have seen like a horse or a unicorn or some creature as well that he had put in as it caught your eye.
And I'm like, little child's toy, huh?
It's only like 3 silver if you want one. They're not expensive, but they're kind of fun. They last a couple days.
I don't know. I just seems like snake oil to me.
But yeah, but it's a fun. This is the festival of lights. You have sparkles and shine and whatnot. I like your Your
I
coat's sparking
sparkle and shine. I
inside.
don't need. Yeah, exactly.
It's sparking inside. That's cool.
I know.
Well, I guess this is a little below you, but if you wish, here's one. And he hands you one that is like kind of sputtering out the sides a little bit. He goes, "I'm sorry, it's not much. It's not working so hot." And he twists it a bit, and instead of shooting out the top like the others, it shoots sparks out the sides. And he goes, I think something was twisted inside when I finished making it. But it's kind of fun because you can do this." And he puts it between his fingers and spins it, and sparks just kind of go everywhere in like a plate almost. And he hands it to you. He goes, "No one wants it. I've had it, and they're not buying it. Have fun."
Thanks for your trash, and I like walk away.
Okay. And he continues packing up and walks off a different direction.
I like kick the back of my coat a little bit as he's like saying bye, so it goes like.
Can our first shirt of this season be "Thanks for your trash"? Goodbye.
Note that down. We can see about getting some art for that. That would be fine. Yeah. So you, so Lily and Corey see a sparking jacket kind of start approaching the inn of our dear friend Fizz. Fizz, are you doing anything with your newfound toy, or are you just hanging on to it? Is there any like extra flair you wish to approach the inn as you do so?
No.
All right, so the jacket that's kind of sparking at the feet, Fizz just walks into the inn and sees Corey and Lily chilling kind of near the front, looking out the window a little bit. Just Fizz at the moment. Is it silent
So they
in the
see
inn?
us, right?
Yeah. You all
Sorry, I
see
was
one
muted.
another.
Yeah, we're just chilling.
Do
Got my
the
teeth.
same kind of flourish to get her attention, to get Fizzlepop's attention.
Flutter your wings a little bit. Yeah. Fizz, you see them off to the side, just kind of watching out. Lily's just chilling, as she said. You see a flutter of Corey's wings to kind of let you know that he sees you.
He does that, and I go.
Just applaud him.
No, I just don't want him to die.
Oh. Okay.
I do believe in fairies. I'll turn to Lily, and it's like, well, at least we got another one of them back.
Right?
Don't know where the big guy is. They may have internet problems over at that house.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
a little bit.
I hear him say, we got another one back, and I'm like, if you're always going somewhere and ending up somewhere, how do you know when you're back somewhere?
I've got some people you should talk to about that. I know a particular cleric that thinks along those lines.
Or went out for Thadric as he's not on this adventure.
Or-
It's frozen. That was
Or
perfect.
is he?
Or is he?
It
Now
was
is
me
a-
the whole time.
Now is a wonderful time. A PSA, I had to do this myself. If you're a streamer, make sure to close all of your wonderful game engine platform things. There's all of them out there now. You know, Epic and Origin and Steam.
Now you just sound like my professors.
know.
Close all your tabs.
Close all your tabs, close all of your gaming devices, put away your cell phones. Yeah, you know, internet issues. That's
Yeah, no
fun.
cheating over there.
Oh yeah, they're sharing secrets because we only get 2 frames a second. Let's check in. Sarah and Glenn, can you still hear us?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Perfect. Oh, you're starting to clear up a little bit. All right,
Yay!
great. So someone took away Phoenix's cell phone. He was streaming all of Twitch right now.
He's using all the
Yeah.
bandwidth.
He's
Come
grounded.
on, he's grounded. The tablet, the phone, the laptop, his
I
gaming
just ran a
PC.
speed test to open up the pipe again,
Oh, there you go. Done.
That's what
and that
she
usually
said.
works.
Just unclogged it. All right. So now that Fizz is in there and kind of hanging out in the inn, we'll go back to Eljor for a second. You're walking slowly through the crowd, and a few partygoers bump into the armor behind you and kind of look around a bit stunned, but it's a fairly uh, dense crowd moving about. So while people notice that
Stay
there's
close in front of him so that way hopefully they'll see me at least and make that less likely to happen.
yeah, so there's very few people that do that, but a few partygoers do notice that there's something happening, uh, and it's off-putting, but no one really approaches. No one really like looks around like, what did I just do? Um, but you do get a few weird glances towards you as it seems that there's something stuck behind you or bothering people in the crowd behind you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just control till I get there.
All right. So multiple minutes later, uh, you see a slowly walking Eljor making his way to the inn. Corey's about 3 or 4 glasses in of his fey wine. Lily's already partway through her tea. Fizz, did you order anything and join the group, or did you go off and do your own Fizz stuff?
Nobody brought me anything?
The bartender just kind of waved at you just to let you know he was there. Like, hey, I see your presence.
And I'm like,
Did you want to order something from him?
no, he should know what I want. Like,
The bartender looks at you as you give him a.
Mhm.
He yells across the way. Anything to drink?
yes, thank you.
What to drink?
The best you got.
The best I've got. Well, I've got a lot of good things. And he walks over and he sets a pint down of a very, very, very dark ale. And he looks at you and goes, "This is very sticky in flavor, but it's very, very easy to consume. So take it slowly. This is one of my favorites, but enjoy." And he walks away and kind of looks over at you as he's set this very, very dark pint of ale in front of you.
Okay.
Eljor, still easing up, takes the steps slowly onto the porch and makes his way to the door. Eljor, how do you enter? Do you do anything to continue to keep your armor friend hidden-ish?
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay in front of him still, just to try and give him, the slightest bit of cover, effectively, as I slowly make my way in. How many other people, other than my compatriots, are in the bar?
Still the same 2 people that the rest of the group had seen earlier, just enjoying a few drinks. Now they've got an empty plate of what was some snack or food at their table. Less drinks there, but there's a couple empty pints. And they're just enjoying a conversation. You hear some laughter a little bit, but it's only 2 off in the corner on the far side, and then your group is kind of hanging out towards more of the seating area that I described earlier a couple episodes ago. So as you've entered, off to the left side is where your party's sitting. It's a bit more of like a seating area. There's a stuffed bear in the corner, a fireplace, a couple seats, and a couch. And then off to the right's the bar top and a few tables. There's the other 2 are sitting at a table and very much ignoring the rest of the party.
Yeah, I'm just gonna slowly make my way there and then look at them and be like, just give them that look like I'm doing what I'm supposed to.
Do we have a room here, or is it
Yeah.
somewhere else?
You have the room with a view. It's upstairs. It looks out over the front of the inn. It protrudes just a little bit so you can see the entirety of the town center. So it's kind of an overhang on top of the inn.
Eljor, if you want to grab a drink, maybe we can take this party upstairs?
Am I close enough to hear
What?
her say that at this point, or?
Yeah, you have slowly eased your way inside. The inn's very
Okay, good.
quiet. That she doesn't even have to speak up much more than a soft spoken voice. The inn's only about 30 feet end to end on the wide from left to right as you enter the door, and about 15 feet deep. The bar sinks in a little bit, and the stairs are opposite of the bar top. So looking in, the stairs are to the left on the back wall, and the bar top is on the right on the back wall.
Okay.
So it's a fairly cozy little place to hang out.
Little dive bar sort of thing. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great idea. I will just kind of
I'm
nod.
gonna finish my tea and then just head up to the room.
All right. Corey, Fizz, anything you wish to do?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go up to the room with everyone, because I got to find out what has happened, what has occurred.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
Eljor, as you slowly approach the the barkeep looks at you. Oh, so are you feeling well, sir? Do you need anything?
Water, please. Thank you very much for
Water.
asking.
Yes. You seem to be moving slowly. Is there pain or anything I can do? Do I need to call the doctor for you?
No, I'm just taking my time.
Enjoying
As
life.
it were.
All right.
Yes.
Well, here, and he steps into the kitchen briefly and comes out with a large mug of water, one that is probably more than you would care to drink in an evening, but is full and kind of sloshing over the side. If you need any more, I'll be down here most of the evening.
Thank you so much.
And as you all slowly make your way up into the room is fairly quiet. You can hear some of the hustle and bustle of the of like the parties and after parties and happenings in the town square through the windows, ever so slightly, but it's starting to quiet down out there. There's, instead of hundreds of people, there's only about 50 people in the town center. The moon is up and it's full. You see sparkling lights across many buildings, much like one would see in Christmas time in our plane. It's very much lit up in that manner. Lots of lights everywhere as the festival is now underway. There's a slight view of the river, even like you're high enough up and looking down across the entrance to the city, and the ports are full of lights, and some of the boats have lights on them. It's a very, very beautiful view. Within the room, you hear a slight hiss of this pneumatic tube that goes down to Lock, Stock, and Barrels, which is underneath the inn. Not super audible, but something that you're aware of because you know it was there. The party slowly joins one another in the room, and as the door closes, all is fairly quiet. How do you wish to proceed, party?
I think we should
Um,
discuss what happened tonight, the items that were gathered. I've got a few in my bag. And I'd like to pull out the items that I was able to obtain.
I think we should leave the aisle alone for now.
I mean, we were hired to go get them. Shouldn't we just give them to the guy and be done with it?
Do we know the guy?
Say what guy?
I mean, the
Thought we
guy
just
that's
got a note.
downstairs. Yeah, but it came from downstairs. Those. I think it came from
Did
downstairs.
you see him?
Don't the pneumatic tubes
While we
go
were
to
there?
lock stock?
I mean, we were in the room and he gave us all these things. I do my little turn and show the cloak that hides many things or whatever it's called.
And I like flip around my cloak and I like spin it.
It's like, yeah, that guy hired us. He said, go get these things. And we said, okay, apparently.
I believe you.
You were there. Why don't you remember the conversation?
You got.
I have
Didn't you
short-term
give her
memory.
something? You have short-term remembering loss.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, did you get hit in the head?
Insight check.
Was there a fight? Did you drink too much?
I did not
Didn't you
drink
get
too
like
much.
a glove or something?
A glove? Did I?
Are you even the same person?
Weren't you looking for a gem for it?
I don't remember.
Are we sure this is the one the one we left with?
The gnome.
So you don't remember the guy telling us that we needed to steal these things before someone else did. You don't remember
I
getting the
remember.
gift from him that you needed to get gems to put it in.
I
And you don't
remember
remember him.
being requested. I thought we got requested by a note.
No, there was a whole meeting and he gave us magic items.
Yeah, it was. Remember when we broke you out of jail?
That's how I got my bag.
Yeah.
Then we went to talk to the guy in the basement, and then he said,
Yeah.
"Go up there and wait for the tubes."
Okay. I remember. It's all coming back to me now.
I thought it might. It has been a whirlwind of 4 hours.
An evening.
Well, I'm suspicious because you remember everything after we told you everything. So are you actually remembering, or you're just knowing what we told you?
Both.
I lean in really close.
I put deodorant on.
I think this one's broken.
Alright, so maybe we should go meet the guy then. Or is he supposed to
That's-
meet us here?
I mean, I thought,
We
if I
didn't
recall,
really.
he's just in the basement. We are hanging out up here.
He's a bottom dweller.
He was a kobold.
His name was Electrum or something, right?
Correct. Electrum, the kobold.
He was an odd duck.
As you're all
Yeah.
just sitting there chatting, the pneumatic tube lets out a in here. Ding 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 ding. Thump.
Yeah, it's from that guy.
I mean,
I'll
check
flutter
and see what
over and
message
open the
is.
open the tube and see what's in there.
Yeah,
See what it's got to say.
as you open the hatch on the tube, there's a piece of paper kind of fluttered up around what seems to be potentially some coin that might have been sitting on top of it, allowing it to be shot up to the room to you. And you're able to pull it back, and there's 6 electrum pieces that are sitting on top of this paper. And for those of you who don't use electrum very often, because it's a terrible, terrible bit of money, it's actually worth half a gold. So 2 electrum is a gold, or as 5 silver pieces. Or 5 silver pieces per electrum, 2 electrum is a gold. You know, silly math there. Again, it's like the $2 bill. No one likes it, but people collect it. There's 6 of them there, so you got 3 gold that just floats up with a note. The note says, "I hope you were able to get what you needed. There's a few more jobs I have for you in order to keep the city safe. ... Here's a bit of spending money if you need food or repairs." And then it's signed with a -E on the bottom.
Is he gonna pay us for our work?
I think that is the
What?
pay.
3 gold for 4 people? Is he dumb?
Doesn't he want the items?
Yeah, that's where I'm thinking. Doesn't he want these gems we took? I'm
He
going
doesn't
down
want
there.
them.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna fly into the tube and see if I can
Okay.
see if I can get down there.
But be careful going through the tube.
Corey,
I'll, like,
you
hold on the side and
have a lot of trouble like pushing yourself down. There is, once the door shuts, there is a little hole on top of the pneumatic tube that bursts air straight upwards, and you feel like the air below you is trying to push you right up to that hole. As you're starting to push yourself down the tube, you believe it's going to take you 20-30 minutes of a lot of effort to just shove your way against this flow of air.
This feels like Finding Nemo.
what is a very dense, small animal that I could turn into?
A fish.
A fish.
As the door closes, I'm like, I don't think he knows how those things actually work.
It's
Is
just
Can I
faces
roll on
blowing
it?
all over.
Yeah.
What
You
do
can do
Which
a
type
little
of
hamster.
history?
You can roll history, you can roll intelligence, you can roll whatever you want that would give you a knowledge of this. You can even roll on
Yeah, it's a 24. I'm
Okay.
good.
Fizz. So you look at this and you know what? These tubes, if you block the airflow out, it should stop a lot of the force upwards. So within, as Corey's pushing their way down the tube, you basically are seeing lips flapping everywhere, hair
Yeah.
fluttering everywhere. This is very unflattering, but at least Corey's in the tube. There's a bit of the glowing pollen shooting out this top hole that Fizz
Can I? How
notices.
far is it?
It's just a few feet from you, and it stands only about 2 foot from the floor, so it's like at your eye level.
Oh, okay. So I go. Do you want him to work for it, or do you want him to get there quick?
Are you asking us?
Yeah.
I think
Meanwhile,
he
there's
should
a
get there
spray.
quick.
Oh, fine. It would have been entertaining the other way, and I put my hand on the top.
The spray of this glittery pollen stops as Fizz puts her hand right over the top hole, and within the tube, the upward pressure nearly stops for Corey, and you go rocketing down this tube towards the lower levels. It's a good like 30 or so feet, but your hands are out within the tube that you're able to slow yourself down and put your feet against the walls.
He has wings.
I mean, it's a small tube. I don't think he's got a full flutter distance in there.
Worst case scenario, I'll turn into that octopus if I need to. Slow my,
Gross.
because they can fit into anything bigger than their
Yeah, they
small, bigger than their
can.
beak.
All right.
But if I can get down there, I just want to go down to the source of the tubes.
Yeah, you're
see
able to
what's
catch
happening down
yourself.
there.
You're able to catch yourself and slow down, and you drop into another little opening. You see the door that you can push open into what you believe is lock, stock, and barrels.
I'll push it open and
Yeah.
stick my head out there.
Fizz, how long do you hold your hand on the tube? Couple seconds, couple minutes.
I don't know. I imagine I would have an idea of how long.
Yeah, you'd guess it would probably take a few seconds to drop all the way down, and then if he has to
Yeah.
exit, maybe a few more seconds.
Well, I rolled a nat 20 on an intelligence.
Oh,
check
so
right
then
now, so.
you probably hold it there for about 20 or 30 seconds just to make sure there's more than enough time.
Then he exits, I release, and it's like, whoosh. So he's
Like
"Ooh."
perfectly timed. Yeah, so as Corey pops their head out the door and is looking around, what they see is a fairly dim room. This seems to be the kitchen of Lock, Stock, and Barrels. And just as Corey steps out, their wings get kind of sucked back into the tube just a little bit and flutter as the door closes. Fizz had just released her hand from up top. It's actually quite quiet. There's a candle lit on the main map table that you had all sat around, but otherwise there's very few lights coming into the area, a few through the cracks above.
There's no people down here or nothing?
Not that you see immediately, no.
Well, I mean, I'd go like I was leaving through the front door that I came out in to see if I can find the people.
Yeah, so as you're leaving through the door or heading towards that door, uh Stock nearly runs into you. Oh, hey, wow. I didn't How did you Oh, whatever. What can I do for you, sir?
Yeah, there's some confusion amongst my compatriots up there. Uh, don't y'all want the gems?
Oh, well, I just ran into Master Electrum and he was heading home for the night. But it seems you don't want the gems yourself?
Well, I thought we were hired to take the gems.
Well, between you and me, come over here. And he brings you over towards the big map table. Um, so this is the castle here, and it's we've got most of it mapped out, but there's this one spot in the center, and there's a big circle in the center that's got a few question marks. We believe that's where a source of great power that's going to be stolen by the Underfoot gang. It lives there. We haven't been able to get into this part of the castle. We don't even know how, other than sheer force. So we gave you a few things, some items to get you in, but we haven't fixed them all up yet. There's the explodey spider thing. That should help get through a wall. There's the glove that should help out. There's a few other things that might help you a little bit, but it's yours, and we've got some more stuff in the back there if you need.
I mean, okay, so to get this straight, if I'm understanding, all of this, the gems, the items, all of that, is payment for the eventual reconnoiter of the inside of this castle.
Oh yeah, and I think if we're understanding it correctly, there's also a lot of money stored in there too, and we save the town from evil. We take a little bit for us, but we don't steal it all. Just a little bit. I'd like to redecorate this place, and he starts pointing and talking about a few things in the under the inn that he wants to clean up. Specifically, he wants to make the floors all one style of like tiling, and he wants to put something between the inn itself so they can have a little more privacy, because he says something about hearing all of the stories from the kitchen that he doesn't need to hear.
Okay. Well, then, now that we're on the same page, and I have an understanding in my head, I'm gonna go ahead and point over to the armory that's got the stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't know if you just want to send any of that stuff up, because we'll use it, and we'll get that information. But now that we're on the same page, we can advance further. We can figure things out.
Yeah. I'll talk with my brothers. They're probably out enjoying some of the food and festivities still, but when they're back, we'll send a few things up for you. Do you have any requests? Anything you're looking for?
I don't. I don't really know what. We're still figuring out what our strengths are, as it were.
Yeah. I get it. I've known my brothers for 8 years now. Yeah, I'm turning 8 next week. Huh. But we're still figuring it all out. Yeah, we'll send a few things up for you. Just so you know, it's a few more heists because, well, we can't be just walking around to get all these magical items and breaking into the castle without just doing some shady stuff. They look at us funny. They think we're part of the Underfoot gang and blah, 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 blah. And he just starts wandering off and over to the armory, and you see him just kind of digging through stuff and murmuring about items and just like off in his own world, starting to make like a list of things he could send up to you.
I will quietly disappear back up the pneumatic tube.
So a couple minutes later, the pneumatic tube makes a strange hissing, clunking sound, and it starts spewing out some of the same sparkly pollen out the top, and you hear and Corrigan's able to stop themselves from slamming into the top.
I flick the end open.
You flip the door open,
Yeah.
and Corrigan, you're able to make an entrance into the room a few minutes later.
Oh, that's a might adventurous way to go. But I did learn a few things.
I
Figured a
do
few
have,
things out.
I do have to note here, Corrigan's hair was mostly in a decent place, and now it's all just like standing straight up from the two rides in the pneumatic tube.
That's how I keep it at night when I sleep. All right, ladies and gentlemen and others, we have essentially the gemstones and the items that we have here. And by the way, I've got more items coming up to us later. I managed to work that out with one of the goblins down there. Those are, in essence, payment for us. There's a unmapped portion of the palace that they want reconnoitered, and I believe that's going to be on us to do that. So, and this is all to help do. Like I was told that that spitery thing can blow stuff up if it's once it's all repaired. So I think with these gems, we repair the items, and then we get better at doing things.
So our
Like being
next
better at
mission
things.
is to.
Map the unmapped section.
So they
I
gave
think
us
that's. Oh, go.
they gave us free stuff, but it was broken. But they gave us the stuff to help us with the heist, so we could steal stuff to fix the broken stuff, so that it wouldn't be broken and we could steal more stuff.
Yeah, I think there's more heists involved. There's more heists and some castling. I'm glad I made friends with the king. I am. Make this whole thing real easy.
I think you need to
Oh
elaborate.
yeah. So when I was inside the party, I essentially may or may not have presented myself as an emissary of the fairy kingdom, which, you know, I am a fairy from the fairy kingdom, and I'm in the outer world, so it's not an untrue, because I don't lie. And the king was rather taken. We made some jests. We had a little laugh. I was to go on the tour with him. However, he was feeling ill and had to step away, which was for the better, because that's when you all made your moves.
Oh yeah, he was drinking like a fish.
I think maybe I can exploit that, or at least massage it a little bit.
I got this, and I pull out the gem with the eye.
So you're aware.
It's really
pulling
big.
it out, you're like holding it with your arms outstretched.
Yeah, no, they see it kind of like come out of my bag, and it's just like, and they're like, wait, what?
You struggle to get it out of the bag because it barely fits through the hole. But you're holding something that is about the size of a human head. To you, it feels much bigger.
And it's just a giant eye, like staring at them now.
And no, it's actually kind of staring at them, looking around the room a little bit, and then in the back of your head, Fizz, as it's staring at the group, you hear, "It's been ages since I've been here."
Oh well, welcome back to it again. I don't know.
Fizz seems to be talking to herself. She only heard that voice in the back of her head.
You know, it's funny. I was just questioning earlier the meaning of back, and I just like go on this whole thing, like reiterating the situation and my thoughts. And
Fizz, are you okay?
what?
Are you okay?
Talking to yourself.
I know I'm not talking to myself.
Who are you talking to?
I was talking to the eye. Didn't you guys talk to it earlier?
No.
Oh. Well, I guess we're friends now.
Oh,
I thought we were friends before.
The the
Wait.
eyes, the
does the eye want to be friends with all of us?
I mean, I don't know. You guys didn't talk to it. That's pretty rude. I wouldn't want to be friends
mean,
with you if I were
I asked it a question.
I can't speak to it.
Well, we
It
didn't
doesn't have a mouth.
continue to chat. Like
I
you're
don't
doing
even know
right
what
now.
you're talking about.
Look at its eye. Look at him.
What?
Look at him.
All right, he's an eye.
I thought you
No,
said
Nice,
die.
nice to meet you.
And I'm like,
Nice.
can
to
you
meet
Like
can you
eyes
can
to
you
nature.
Yeah.
can you just talk to one of them?
As you're stuttering to the eye and they're all making their introductions, each of you in the back of your head, as you make an introduction, you hear, it's the first I've met you specifically. And it's the same thing every time. It's the first I've met you specifically, the eye says to each of you. And it kind of echoes almost as if the voice is coming from literally like something on the back of your cranium and not like something in the room
Do
per
I
se.
hear it?
No,
saying that?
Fizz, you only hear it when it speaks to you. Each of you only hears it when it speaks to you, and it speaks individually to each of you after you introduce yourself.
That's so weird. How do you do that? Speaking to the eye.
Are you okay?
The eye doesn't speak back in many cases. It seems to be a few words.
What did it say? What did it say?
Nothing really.
Oh.
Eye for few words.
Now, each of you, Lily, Eljor, and Corey, was there anything specifically you may have been thinking about or worrying about, or even just wondering from the last few hours as you've started your heists?
Why the armor was staring into the water.
Lily, Corey, anything in your minds?
Probably how I could be best friends with the king. Or figure out that elven lady.
How we're gonna figure out the middle of the map?
As you've all
Along
made
the next
introductions, there's a stillness in the room, and Eljor, on your shoulder, you feel a tapping, and you look behind you to see a little bit of the smoky outline of the armor, and the armor is actually tapping you on the shoulder as if to like converse with you, or at least make some gestures or something, as it hasn't spoken to the best of your knowledge. And as you're able to look over at it, it looks and points out, and it points way out the window and kind of like motions a little bit, trying to signal something about the water or the ships or something with the port. And then it like points, like it's saying, oh, you get this, and then it kind of points down the river a little ways.
I'm
In the river
going
to the east.
Yeah, I'm just going to, recognizing that he's like, he or she or it, whatever it is trying to tell me something, and understanding that it recognizes Elvish. I'm going to write down, I'm going to pull out a piece of parchment and write down the Elvish alphabet and tell it to point at each letter, and I'll start to spell out what he's trying to say.
Oh, so we're playing Ouija with the set of armor,
With-
right?
Did you
With the
say
smoky
Ouija as
invisible arm.
Ouija?
Yeah. Ouija, Oiji, however you want to pronounce it.
Wooja!
Ouija. So as
that.
it starts kind of pointing, it roughly spells out something along the lines of my home near a lake, east of here.
Okay.
So it kind of tells you what it was getting to, and you realize that as you were meeting this eye, you were kind of still trying to figure out the armor, and then the armor just spoke to you out of the blue in that manner. Ouija. Okay, Ouija it is. Thanks, Gobshite in chat for being there for us. So the armor kind of spoke to you. And the rest of you, as this is going on, do you do anything as Eljor is quickly like trying to communicate with this ghostly set of armor in the room? And Fizz is still holding the eye.
He's playing super.
So you got an eye.
Think I was crazy?
You got an eye. He got a set of moving armor. What else? What else is in there?
I've got a glove. I should probably check to see if I got any stones that would fit in the glove.
Oh yeah, we got a lot of those stones, huh?
Yeah.
I believe, Lily, you or Fizz had gotten a stone in their pocket for that glove upon meeting the
Oh, she
eye
did.
on last episode.
Oh,
In her
that was
pocket,
me.
Yeah.
I got it. So that's what I asked the eye for. I knew I asked him a question. I couldn't remember what it was. That was it.
There it is.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put the stone in the glove. But I
It'll-
also want to ask, Corey, did you get a copy of the map? Or are we just kind of playing by the wind or something?
I think what happened was I got some information about what they're going to ask us to do. Because it was just
Oh, okay.
the one little goblin down there, and he was like, "Between you and me, this is the situation." So I think what's going to happen is there's probably going to be some sort of, I don't want to say nefarious, but like I said, more heists, and maybe the plan will be revealed to us at some point.
Okay.
But just
to
be
know.
ready. I don't think it's being hid maliciously as much as unsure if they can trust us.
So as this discussion is going on, there's a faint knocking at the door, and a little note slides underneath. It's got a bit of wax on the fold, and it seems to have a little signet punched into the wax.
Well, my hands are full.
Do I recognize the signet?
Is there a bed?
There's a bed. You're in an inn.
It's kind of heavy, so I'm gonna like gently set it on a bed.
Okay. So looking at the signet, can anyone who wants to try and identify it roll either a history or an insight check?
I'm not good at either of those. Let's see.
I got a 22.
Got a 12.
On what?
23.
Insight?
Or
23,
history. I don't know
22
if
and
it's-
23. The 22 and 23, you realize that this signet looks very, very similar to some of the banners that were hanging at the party. Potentially the king's signet here. So this note looks like it was from the king or the office of the king, potentially. Upon inspecting it, it's a very fine piece of paper as well. So that also potentially helps solidify your line of thinking with your roles.
Corey,
it's-
I believe
it's-
this is for you.
It's
And I
probably
hand
for
it to
me.
him.
Thank you. I grab it and I like rip because it's huge comparatively.
Yeah, you,
I like
you
rip
pull
open
the seal back.
the Captain
Uh,
America sized shield. Yeah.
Everyone's just like, and you're just like, dun, 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 pulling this piece of wax back. You do notice that it is a note from the king, and in the note it says, "I'm inviting you to the castle tomorrow to speak of a few things of great importance. And it's not signed, it's very hastily written and seems to be sloppy. As you had last all seen the king being hustled out because he had one too many or three too many, whatever it may be. It seems a drunk king has sent a message your way.
Ooh, got me a royal
was-
booty call.
He was drunk messaging.
That's hilarious.
At least it's not a king pick. It's looking like
Glenn's like trying to compose himself.
I nearly shot my drink through my nose on that one.
Sarah,
Hmm. All right.
looks like I've got something to do tomorrow, which is good. Maybe I can start kind of pre-mapping out this space.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping that would be a map, but I was wrong.
Well, maybe we'll get a map.
There is somewhat of a crudely drawn map downstairs that you had seen earlier in the day when you'd met Lock, Stock, Barrel, and Electrum. But it's not a very specific map. It seems to have walls that have been erased and re-added a few times as they had remeasured or crudely estimated what the castle was like. So there is a map available to you if you wish.
is it an actual map, or do I look at it and go, I could do it better?
Fizz, with your nature of mechanizing and designing your mechanics, you probably looked at it and went, oh my gosh, no one builds a building like this.
So I sit down and I think it's with my thieves tools. I start working because so I sit down and I start working for a while.
All right, yeah, it is evening, so we're at a point where if you all wish to turn in for the night, you may, or you may go out and do stuff nefarious in town, or just go see the lights. I mean, it is the start of the Festival of Lights, of course.
Oh no.
Yeah, but also
I'd like to go see the lights.
We could be identified by some of the guards.
That might not be
At
the
least
worst
myself.
thing, though. Oh, that's true.
At least me. I'm not gonna go out because they definitely saw me around there, and I avoided it and shoved a guard into it.
Well, I want to go see the festival.
Festival.
I want to
Stay
go
in.
see the lights as well. But I do think maybe I should, find some different clothing just in case.
Kind of costume up. I get it.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Do you have other clothing in your pack, or do you need to go trade with somebody like Fizz and her sparkly coat?
Well, I'm thinking that, when I go down there, there's probably going to be a bunch of vendors, and I'll buy a shawl or something to kind of spice up my outfit.
Yeah, last you recall, it was starting to get a bit quieter out in town. But there's still probably a few places you could stop if you wish.
Okay, I'd like to do that.
Anyone else joining Lily as she goes back out for a little while?
Yeah, I'm gonna go and just kind of take it in. I'm gonna adopt the air and movements of a noble as much as
Right.
possible.
So we have Lily and Corey stepping out, and I believe Fizz was working on something special, clinking away with some of her tools off in the corner. Eljor, do you hang back? Do you...
Yeah, I'm staying in the room. I could be easily identified, and I'm not about to get caught after I just got away. So I'm gonna see if I'd probably stay in and see if the armor wants to communicate anymore, or if they can give me more details.
still
I'm
playing-
very interested by this thing. you know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
imagine he's still sitting there on the floor playing Boggle with
Playing Boggle with the armor. Yeah, so for the next few minutes, if you want to think of any few questions, anything you want to have gained information from this armor, we can come back and answer those and essentially fast forward through the game of pointing at letters and asking questions and let you know what happened. But as Lily and Corey head down the stairs, the inn is actually empty on the main floor. The barkeep is the only one there, and he's carrying a few glasses back from the table that had some of the other people visiting the inn and having a few drinks. And he nods at each of you as you go past, and notices your presence, but doesn't engage and allows you to exit out through the front of the inn. It is now probably about 10-ish p.m., more or less. So things are still happening, but it is quieting out in the main area of town. Most of the children seem to be finishing up their games or play or have already retired for the evening. And it's just more adults mulling about and having discussions and chatting. A few small stalls are open. There's a couple lights on in a few of the shops just across the street, but not every single shop is lit up. The lights that you see on in some of the shops, some of the glowing lights inside and some of the candles lit seem to be of a shop that has a few bits of armor and a few bits of clothing. Seems to be very high-end, detailed work, mostly custom work. There's a bookshop next to it that has some lights on. And then just up the way a little bit, there seems to be like an apothecary or potionary that has all sorts of ingredients and various things for creating not only potions, maybe medicines or foods even. Just a shop that has aromas that you can smell even across the street with the door open on it. Very pungent, very sweet. Lots of things that just kind of assault the nostrils. So those are some of the areas you could go. You could go to potentially an inn across the way where Corey had seen the elven lady retire to about an hour or so earlier. But there's still guards standing in front of that one around the way.
I'd like to check out the shop with the clothing. Just to see if, like I said, I could find a sort of shawl or jacket or something that's cheap and fancy.
Cheap and fancy. All right, we'll see what we can find there. Corey, do you follow or do you head elsewhere?
Yeah, Corey's just along kind of for the sake of being out more than anything else. But again, I'll adopt more of a oh, you're buying a shawl because someone I know needs a shawl kind of situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So as you both enter this shop, there's an older man sitting at a small table in the back, just kind of sewing on a few bits of leather, and he looks up, and he's a halfling himself, so he's sitting up on this tall stool, sitting at like a normal sized table, and he pulls his big glasses up.
Come to the shop. I'm sorry that it's just me here, so I can't reach anything up tall. But, for the next little bit, I'm still open. Let me know what you need.
And I just give him a nod and start perusing through the things he's got in the shop.
Yeah, you see a bunch of very, very ornate handcrafted pieces. All sorts of gear. On one wall is more armor based, so you see like solo shoulder pads or a thigh piece that would be very protective but also very ornate. You see a couple chest pieces of various sizes, small embellishments that go on shields, etc. It seems to be more of like one-off pieces to accent your armor and gear. On the other wall, you see a bunch of essentially under armor. You see some standard town wear, you see some dresses, you see a lot of shirts that don't have much on like the chest or arm region, but a lot of detail around the cuffing and neck. So there's various pieces here that could be somewhat to your search if you're looking for a specific type of wear, but there's all sorts of sizes. Being a halfling that's sitting in the back, you do notice that there's a lot of smaller sizes along the lower rows of like halfling, kobold, goblin shapes and such.
Okay, I would like to take a look at some of the items that are in the townspeople kind of wear. Just finding like a shirt, like I said, or a scarf or something, just to kind of throw on over what I'm wearing right now.
Yeah.
Is there anything like that in there?
Yeah, so as you peruse through, a lot of the stuff is very, very fine craft, but there's a small section in the back that seems to be stuff that maybe the tailor's apprentice had created, or older items that may have been like a resale or whatnot. There's there's a little shelf that's got a few pieces, and it's scattered of all things. There's armor and under armor wear there. There's a few hats, scarves, shoes, a few things that look a bit worn, as if someone had turned in a ornate piece of gear that still had some life to it, and a few things that look like they're newer, just like not as well crafted. There's a bit that would fit you, of all sorts of shapes and sizes. And there's a little sign that seems to say that they're somewhere between 3 silver and a gold, depending on the quality of the piece.
Okay. I'd like to find one of the cheaper pieces that's probably about 3 copper and purchase it.
Yeah, so as you look through, there's a couple scarves and one shirt. The shirt is actually fairly well worn. You see a couple small holes at the bottom. There's a tiny stain that looks like it had been prestidigitated away, but didn't get a full clean to it. And it seems to be more of what you'd see a quote unquote commoner wear around town. It's not bad, but it's not of like the utmost quality. There's some ornate styles around the sleeves, but some of the fringing has either unraveled a bit or has been damaged. So it seems to be a piece that might be a second hand here.
Okay, is there something that's maybe a little bit better than that?
Yeah, there's
Like,
another
No
there's a,
stains or rips.
yeah, there's another shirt that is interestingly, one sleeve is a little bit longer than the other, and you can tell by the way it's folded and laid that it seems to be a poorly created piece of gear.
But it looks okay?
Yeah, it looks fine otherwise. It seems like it was an apprentice who'd created it, just didn't follow every step or went too quickly. So it's not the best crafted, but it would be a bit newer and fine in terms of like normal wear. So it could
That's
use a
the
little
one I'll
tailoring.
buy.
All right. As you pick it up, the older man looks over and goes,
Oh, so that was one of our apprentices last summer. She never measured anything, just kept cutting, just kept sewing. There's a few bits of her pieces there. She was very good at the ornate designs.
and you'll see that like the designs around the neck and the cuffs are very, very, very well done, but the measurements of everything else is just a little off and kind of unsuited for like a standard tailor. And he kind of laughs and leans back.
Oh man, she was good at her designs, but I wish that she just measured a few things. I built the patterns in such a way, but I think that's the last of her shirts. I can part with that for 1 silver.
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay. Anything for you, fairy?
I don't think you have quite my style. Everything here seems a little constricting and heavy for me.
Yeah, well,
But that's okay.
If there's anything you need, I've got connections throughout the city. Just come on back. You can say that old Stumpy has sent you.
Old Stumpy. Well,
Yeah.
I'll write that down, Old Stumpy. You've been a mite helpful today.
Thank you. And he kind of turns in his seat to reach out and get the copper, and you see that he's missing one of his legs from the knee down, and he's got a very ornate like metal leg that he is attached and sticking straight out.
Do I see that too?
Yep. You see it especially because it's kind of at your eye level as he's reaching down to collect the silver from you.
May I ask what happened to your leg?
Oh, this one! And he pats to the good one. It's just a little sore. I've been sitting for some time.
Oh, you're silly.
Oh, you're
I
talking.
meant the other one.
Oh, you're talking about the one that just left me a few years ago. It just decided to walk away and travel down the road in the mouth of a baby dragon. But,
Oh.
whatever.
It's baby dragons.
It's traveling.
We've got baby dragons.
Yeah,
Baby
well,
dragons coming into town.
no.
That's not allowable.
I was out collecting some stuff near one of the dragon's hordes, and well, I wasn't being very careful, and the baby got a little nippy with me. I thought I could handle it. Well, Old Stumpy's my name now.
I
What
guess
was your
that
name
is how you
before?
would get your name.
Well, my name before was Sir Reginald of the Clan of the Thread. It's a long family name here. We've been tailors for the last 623 years. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's a
So you lost
prestigious
your
name.
knighthood.
No. It's just we call ourselves Sir and Madam because, well, we're the best tailors in town, so we take that as a sign of our own. I'm not a knight, especially not now with, this. And he pats on the metal and you hear doom doom.
No, not with that attitude. Don't let that hold you back. If you want to be a knight, you go right on and be a knight. I've got
Well-
utmost faith in you.
I don't want to lose another leg or arm, but well, I'll just keep sewing. I know how to work a needle.
Oh, you do that. Whatever makes you happy.
Well, if you need anything else, I can talk to other tailors in the town and just let me know. And I think we can get something your shape and size. And if you need anything a bit more fancy, I'm sure I could talk to the king's tailor.
Thank you so much. You've been a great help.
All right, well, have a good evening and come on back when you can.
Right, and I'd like to leave.
Just rushing out the door before he can continue his tales about the baby dragon chomping his leg off. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Good call.
I was
you hear-
thinking maybe it was from the Underfoot gang, but it was the dragon. Cool, but
Underfoot.
not what I was looking for.
Not what you're looking for, not the information. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Yeah, so as you step back outside, again, it's a fairly calm evening. There's a few adults that are moseying about the streets. Some going home, it seems, some kind of going out and just enjoying the lights and pointing, and you hear oohs and ahs, and you overhear a little bit like, oh, last year, remember the lights over there? And they pointed to one of the buildings that is lit with a very ornate pattern, but nothing that seems to be of like precise nature of Underfoot gang or anything you may be looking for. Let's go back upstairs to where we have the ghost armor and Eljor.
Yeah.
Do you have questions that you've asked the armor?
Honestly, it seems if he gave me the same response, I thought about it. If he gave me the same response as he was kind of like, gesturing towards, and I just basically have the same. I don't think I would pressure, because whatever this thing is magical, and it seems to have a personality. So I wonder if there's a story there, but I'm just gonna let it be, because this is the first time in a long time, I think it probably has not been stuck inside of like a magical prison. So I'm just going to leave it where it is
Right.
and let it exist for the moment, and take some time to kind of inventory myself and just meditate, and because that's one of the big things, at least to my knowledge, about elves, is that they like to spend a lot of time thinking about their past actions and the words they've said and the things they've done to try and think about how they could have improved on them. And so that kind of that sort of meditation, I guess. Yeah.
All right. Anything you're focusing on or trying to grow on, or anything I should be aware of, or is this just more of like elven meditation?
Yeah, it's very elven meditation, and a lot of it would probably be centered around this guy, because I'm not obsessed, but I'm very focused on trying to help this thing find its way home. Because
Yeah.
not being able to be home and having been basically effectively a prisoner, this whatever this thing is wants to go home, and I'm
Yes.
yeah.
So as you go into like your meditative state for a little bit and kind of start thinking and mulling about your thoughts and ideas, out of the corner of your eye, you do mildly notice that the armor moves into a similar meditative state that one of your ancestors that you remember as a young child, their meditative state was a bit more like a rigorous step through style of like uh, motions and positioning, and then finally getting into like um, a moment of where they can be in their mindset. So you notice very, very not dissimilar from like your great grandfather or grandmother, um, but very interesting older ways of meditation. And they seem to be doing very
Hmm.
similar near you.
Hmm.
As you'd kind of noted, this is like their first time out, and they're able to be whatever they were or are, a bit more of themselves at this point. And
Yeah.
all you know is they have an elvish background, based on how you've interacted, their armor, and now their meditative state.
And I would have. That was the other thing I was thinking about too. Um, the sword itself also
Yeah,
has this smoke that comes off of it.
correct. Yes.
Is it similar to the smoke that moves off of the armor when it moves?
Very, very similar. Yes.
I would probably at some point try and present the sword to him.
Yeah, as you present the sword, the armor kind of leans away and puts. You see that the armor leans back and kind of puts its hands up, like, no, I can't accept, as if it knows what that is, but it's unwilling to take it from you. Um,
Okay.
Not that it's like scared of it or doesn't want it, but that it's more of a I can't take this, almost as if it's too big of a gift type movement.
Oh. I guess at that point I would ask it through like the
Yep.
Ouija.
The Ouija.
What if it knows what this is? Because
Um,
I'm wielding it, but I don't really know anything about it.
yeah, so crudely, you understand it to be a sword that holds the the memory of battle. Um, Not that it's a sword of sentience, but it is a sword that somewhat channels previous owners in some way in battle. Maybe in the way it parries and the way it slashes, but it's very cryptic in the terms. But uh, the armor continues to tell you it's a sword that holds many memories, um,
Hmm.
and kind of claims to you that it's a very ancient sword and it's been around for thousands of years.
I would then incorporate it into my meditation from that point on.
There you go.
Uh, Trying to commune with this and see if I can't learn more about it, because especially if it's an ancient artifact of my people with this suit of sentient animated armor that seems to maybe even be like kind of an Edward or an Alphonse Elric Full Metal Alchemist thing with like a soul connected to a suit of armor. Like, this is all very odd, and I want to see if I can tap into it. So that's what I would kind of focus on. Oh my gosh, Phoenix.
Hey. So as you're seeing doggos pop up on screen, you can type exclamation dogs, exclamation pups, exclamation pets. I think any of those will get you some links in chat to see Instagrams of these doggos. That was just Phoenix on screen. You've seen Tinkerbell and Zelda on screen. And then we do have another doggo. I don't think Tesla has her own Instagram, does she?
She does, but I've not posted on it in probably 10 years.
All right, so
I have
Tesla
enough problem
has
keeping mine
presence. Oh yeah, I get you. So yeah, as we bring that meditative state to the sword, Fizz, what is it that you're doing? You're tinkering away at that you just decided you're gonna go over and ding 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 with all your gear.
Has it been an hour?
Roughly, there's been some shopping, there's been some meditation, there's been a little bit of sightseeing.
So I was making myself another set of tools,
Oh,
and how long do you think it's been?
probably about an hour. What are the
About an
tools?
hour. So now I'm like getting set up to draw like a proper map
Oh.
of the
So
castle.
you're making what, a calligraphy set or something? Or
Cartographer's
ooh,
tools.
cartographer's tools.
Get with it, man.
Hey. So you have just built cartographer's tools, and that's an amazing little feature of being an alchemist, and more specifically, an alchemist, right? Or is it?
I don't know if it's because I'm a level 3 artificer or if it's because I'm an alchemist artificer.
Okay, so it's
But
something
either
with the
way, it
artificer.
came with the level 3.
You just make tools. So cool. You made a set of tools so you can start to draw a map. Is there anything special about your tools, or are they just
No, they're actually particularly not special. Like, they're not magical, and they'll disappear when I make a new tool set. So
Oh,
of
okay.
tools, yeah.
Interesting. Good to know. So you have a cartographer's set of tools now in your possession. Feel free to add those to your sheet if you
I know, I
haven't.
already did. I made 'em,
Wonderful.
so-
There it is. About an hour is up. Corey and Lily, after your shopping trip, you're able to see a few of the lights and wander about. Most of the shops seem to be closing up at this point. Anything else you wish to do in town before the evening seems to be wearing down for the city itself?
Nope.
Not particularly,
Right.
Nope, I just need
unless
a
you
full
want us to
night's
go
rest.
cause trouble.
I need you to pick a fight with a dragon. A red dragon,
I
I don't
specifically.
want to
There's
have my
baby
leg
dragon.
chopped off.
All right. So the evening on the town seems to be very quickly coming to a close for many of the patrons. Shops are closing up. Any of the vendors that you'd seen are starting to roll away their carts or carry away their baskets. Lights are kind of going off in front of and within some of the buildings. The inn is still lit up nicely, as it seems to be open all night long. There's a couple patrons now sitting at the bar within. They seem to already have been to a few other bars or parties before, and they're just enjoying some beers. There's a few glasses of water that it seemed to be set out nearby them, as the barkeep doesn't want to deal with complete blackout drunks in his bar, but still wants the patronage. It's fairly quiet aside from these few having some laughs at the bar. Do you go back up to the room? Do you hang out in the bar? How do you wish to close
Yeah.
out
I
the
think it's time to
evening?
go. I think it's
Yeah,
time
I'm
to go
done
sleep.
for the night. Yeah, party's over.
Party's over. For the end of the evening, you see Eljor kind of in a meditative state over his sword. It's more or less hovering in front of him. At this point, Eljor, meditating with the sword, had released the grasp of the sword, and instead of floating to the middle of the room, it floats immediately in front of him as he is starting to gain a little bit of attunement with this magical item. And there's no motion in the room elsewhere for the armor, so either the armor has left or is in a meditative state as well. You see Fizz pulling together her set of cartographer's tools. You see a few different tools and a few different little pieces of drawing nature, whether or not they're chalk or an inkwell, that she's kind of pulling together. And you see her very focused on her tools. It seems that she's putting together a last couple pieces of them out of almost thin air. And she's all giddy, doing her thing as you enter the room. Anything you all wish to do before calling it an evening?
Nope.
Spread out on the bed as much as possible.
Taking up a whole square 1.5 feet, right?
Yeah.
All right. Then you all turn in for the evening and start to drift off into a sleep. The rumble of town is fairly quiet. The hissing of the pneumatic tube becomes a white noise to the room, and all is well until partway through whatever dreams of gumdrops and sugar plum fairies and whatever else each of you may dream of, a pounding on the door wakes you. You open your eyes and it's still fairly dark out. There's a little bit of a glow on the horizon, so it seems that it's maybe an hour even before full sunrise. So probably 4:35 a.m. maybe. It's early and there's a pounding on the door. Two big thud thud, and then a few moments of silence, and then thud thud thud. No voice behind it.
Probably open the door.
Yeah.
As you were all kind of clambering up and opening the door, there's a man dressed in a very old, worn guards-looking armor, but has a cloak over it. So you see bits and pieces of some of the regalia underneath, and he steps into the room. There's a scar across his face. He's got a beard that's very unkempt and kind of grown a little bit larger. And he looks across the room. They sent me to retrieve the missing items, and I always retrieve what they send me to get. Where's the stone?
Who's they?
Who are you?
And
What
who are
stone?
you?
There was a stone stolen from the party, and I caught
Wait, what
scent
party?
of it coming this way.
What party?
I need a deception check from you, Lily. Anyone else who wishes to try to deceive or persuade this figure who has burst into your room?
11.
11. The figure looks at you a bit more and squints his eyes. I'm sure you know what party I'm talking about. Last night.
No, I'm sure you
Listen,
don't.
sir. You cannot come in here without an official badge. You have to be a representative of the crown if you're going to burst into travelers' hotel rooms in an inn, making wild accusations about being able to smell some sort of rock.
Well,
Are you a dog?
the crown has paid me well.
Show your badge. Bring me to court.
There's no badge
here.
needed.
Then show us your emblem. Show us
Well.
your seal.
He pulls a sword, and across the sword, there's a few, like, emblazoned skulls across it, and it seems to have, like, dried blood stuck within, as if he either has or has not cleaned the sword or purposefully have left blood within those skull emblems. And he looks across the party. I notch in my bounties. This is my 8th sword. Now, hand over the stone, or you can join the sword's count.
How far open is the bed?
How far open is the bed?
Or the door?
The door? The door is mostly open.
Did I put the eye away earlier then?
Yeah, I would assume that
Okay.
you guys had put things away because you were trying to, like, have space to sleep. The door is
Um,
mostly open, but he stands directly within the center.
Oh, if
How
we
big-
had the stone, don't you think you would see it?
He looks around.
Also, I hope you know
quietly.
that blood is bad for your blade.
Probably why you've gone through 8 swords.
He is very unflinching in looking at all of you. At this point, it seems that he's ready to engage. So I'm gonna have each of you roll for initiative, and we're gonna end our session on a little battle here.
The TM was mad we didn't fight anyone earlier, so he had Tony break into our hotel room.
Yeah, I had someone break
Won't
into
fight,
your,
I'll bring
your
the
hotel
fight to
room.
you.
Watch
It's
us
like-
talk our way out of this one.
He's like, I'm hurting someone.
Yeah.
Watch, yeah,
I'm done
that's
using
that's
ADB on
that's what's
rolls.
gonna happen.
I rolled a 4 for initiative.
4, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Back to those high
Oh.
numbers.
Oh, I did so good. 11.
Same.
22!
All right. 11, 4, 22, 11 for Eljor, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So at the top of the turn order, we have Fizz.
Okay.
I just realized you handed me dog treats. Did someone get a dog treat redemption?
No, I was just telling you to shake him so you could pick up Zelda because it was your turn to deal with the naughty dog.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's just
Naughty
air
dog.
all that in front of everybody
Naughty
right now.
I mean, hopefully they didn't hear the barking over
We
there.
get it.
Here, you can chew into my-
she's very reactive and she's just having a hard day.
Oh,
There
yes.
you go. There you
Puppy
go.
treat ASMR.
Puppy treat crunches.
Yeah.
Just for everyone
They're
on
gonna
screen.
get like a quarter of a scoop of kibble for dinner because they've had so many treats.
All right, so Fizz at the top of the turn order.
He's in the doorway.
He's standing immediately in the doorway, blocking entrance and exit, in a very, very aggressive stance, as if he's here for a reason and he knows he's in the right spot.
Ah, shoot. I used all my rope earlier.
Yeah, it was still hanging there, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I can't do what I was gonna do. Okay. I don't like going first. I just realized this. In the last game we played, I never went
You never went first.
I'm not a fighter. I guess am I standing in the back?
I mean, you're all either on the bed or on the floor, wherever you may have fallen asleep. I not making any assumption of you, Fizz, but I would have probably assumed you curled up on the floor.
Yeah.
Being a kobold, that's probably
So
your nature.
I think I'll just kind of like take my foot and like try to discreetly like slide my bag under the bed because I imagine I was like sleeping with
All
that.
right, roll a stealth for me, please.
Yeah. That's a 19.
A 19. He kind of side eyes you, but he doesn't notice what you're doing. Do you have any movement you'd like to do? Or
That was my interact with
that was your interact, but you can still move about the room if you wish. If you want to get closer or further.
I mean, there's not really anywhere to go. I'm just
Yeah,
in
it's
a
only about a
state-
20 foot by 20 foot. It's not a huge room.
Yeah. So I'll just do that.
The man steps into the room a bit further and pulls a dagger with his other hand. So he's got a sword in one hand and a small dagger in the other. And he looks about the room and he says, I'm going to start killing each of you if you don't return the item that was stolen. And he just looks about the room. He doesn't engage yet. He's hoping, I think,
What?
that someone returns something.
What
Corey.
are you talking about, man?
Corey, it is your turn.
So what are you talking about? I don't know anything about a stone. Well, can you describe it, please?
The eyes of the man just turn and lock on you, as he believes you have more information about the specific item that was stolen. And he stares at you very, very intently, as if no one else exists in the room. Do you do any more engagement or interactivity here?
I mean, it's like I can't help you unless you talk to me and give me more information here.
All right.
Let me know. In fact, I'm to meet with the king tomorrow himself. So more information's beneficial to all of us.
That is all of your vocal action here. So you've shot a few questions at him, and he's staring you down as if you're his main target at the moment. Eljor, you're up next.
Seeing that he's interesting. Seeing that this guy is on the borderline of aggression, I want to look across him.
Yep.
And see if there is anything on his person, because is he wearing like a cloak or something?
Yeah, he's wearing
Or
a fairly tattered cloak over a set of like light mail armor. You see some very old insignia on it that looks like it might have been a guard's insignia, but potentially not of this town. His armor is very mismatched, but his cloak is covering a lot of it. What you do notice of the armor is it seems battle worn, not in the sense that it's frail or about to break, but more like this has been his trusty set of armor that he has built and acquired over many years.
Okay. I would step forward with my hands up, and I'm going to cast Mage Hand as an action. And since I am an arcane trickster, I can make it invisible. It's just going to be I'm going to have it like in my own hand, basically, just kind of hang in there. And
the Mage Hand Ledgermane. Here we go.
Yeah, there it is.
didn't
I've
even
never done it
notice
before,
that.
and I've always thought it was super cool. So, I'm just going to walk forward with my hand up, and I'm going to say, so it's obviously this is a case of mistaken identity. We have a letter with the king's seal on it, with a meeting we're supposed to be at tomorrow. If you would like to attend with us, you're more than welcome. And I want to let me see if I have any bonus actions I can actually
Corey's
do
like,
on a level.
I have a letter. But he doesn't
Well, it was
actually
pushed
say
under
it.
the door, right? Wasn't it pushed under the door?
Yes. Corey has the letter, yeah.
Oh, yes. Did I say? I thought I said we.
You said
we have.
It's essentially
okay.
in the general possession.
Yeah, I'm just making sure. I'm reiterating a little bit of what Corey's saying, and making sure he knows I'm not doing anything. And yeah, that's me.
Yeah, this guy side eyes you a little bit and then stares back at Corey as if whatever Corey had said, there was some information that he's locking onto. Lily, it's your turn.
Cool. So my glove is in my bag, and I want to sleight of hand or stealthily put it underneath the bed.
Okay.
If I can.
Yeah. Please roll stealth or sleight of hand, whichever you wish.
15.
15. Because the man is locked on to Corey, he doesn't seem to notice your action of sliding your bag under the bed, along with Fizz's sliding her bag under the bed. And he just kind of keeps a focus on Corey. Is there anything else you wish to do? Any movement or speech?
I would assume that maybe I hadn't gotten out of bed yet because I wasn't taking this very seriously, but I would like to slowly get to my feet.
Okay.
And just say, we're unarmed here, okay? And we're telling you what's going on. We don't know anything.
All right. Fizz, we're back to the top of the turn order with you.
The guy isn't gonna do anything.
The guy is next in line. None of you have attacked. We're essentially in a battle, but no one has done anything battle worthy yet.
I'm pretty much useless right now. Yeah, I got nothing. I'll probably like put my hand on my crossbow. No. I'll probably grab my hammer.
It's probably laying on the floor next to where you were at. Yeah.
So I'll probably grab my hammer and just kind of like have that ready.
Do you say anything, or you just grab the hammer like you're just?
I mean, I don't feel like I need to say anything. Everyone else is like talking, and I'm
Okay.
just in the back, so I'm like.
Okay. As you grab the hammer and stand upright, it's this man's turn now. This bounty hunter of sorts steps into the room even further and gets his blade within inches of Corey. And as he moves to get his blade within inches of Corey, he lets out kind of a guttural rumble, almost a growl of sorts. And you hear, "I know. You know something about what was stolen. You said the stone. What do you know?"
Yeah, because you said the stone.
It's true.
And as he does that, and starts to engage on you and really like push you for something, out of the corner of the room, a smoky figure walks towards the man. The armor had come out of their meditation state and draws a blade from their side out of almost an unseen sheath. And the blade comes out and it glows like a bright green color, something that is noticeably more physical than the presence of the armor. It's not fully 100% realized, but it's definitely more presence. And the blade just silently presses up against the man's neck. And as it presses up against the man's neck, you see like a glow against his neck, and there's like some light tattooing that is down this man's neck, and it pokes just into his skin a tiny bit, not enough to draw blood, but enough that you see an indentation. And as the man looks over to the side, his eyes get big in such a way where a battle-hardened veteran tries not to show that he's about to soil his armor, but this is the best he can handle himself, and he steps backwards and he looks across the group. "You may be able to use your words, but I will find the item." And he steps backwards out the door, and the entire time the armor is keeping the sword pressed almost like surgically, to the point where any more pressure would just like pierce the man's jugular, just to the point where it's like insanely close to just being total mayhem. And the man ducks around the corner, and you hear some very like thud, 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 and then almost a silence as the man rushes out, and you hear the front door slam, and the armor retreats back into a meditative pose, and the sword gets resheathed.
I would like to take a mental note of the different tattoos that he had on his neck. Were there
Yeah.
any that stood out?
Yeah, you noticed there was like an outline of like a dragon's head, but not like a I've got dragons tattooed on me, but more of like a symbol of something. It was in a circular pattern, seemed to be almost like a coin shape on his neck. There were a few other like ornate designs around it that seemed more just designs for the sake of.
Okay.
But there was like a coin of a dragon's head essentially on his neck.
Okay.
I just
Well, that
want
was
to say
almost an
thank you in
apostrophe.
Elvish.
The armor doesn't seem to respond much more than just a slight like nod of the head, so close to unnoticeable.
But I want to make sure, and I don't know if this is a real thing, but I want to inflect as if it's an elder within
Okay.
Elven society.
Yeah, as
With
if
the
you're
thank you. It's like the
you're paying respect essentially. Yeah, yeah.
yes.
Perfect.
So I go, oof, well, that was almost an apostrophe.
I just don't
don't-
understand how he tracked us.
I'll be back.
Where are you
I'm
going?
gonna go see about alternative lodgings.
He's
I
going
think
to
that's a
poop.
good decision. I'm gonna go see a guy
Okay.
about a thing. Yeah.
I'm gonna go see an elf about a thing, yeah. We'll see what we
Okay.
can do.
We'll
Okay.
keep watch. So you return.
My intent, Sartin, is to go to the other tavern with the guards and see about taking rooms there.
Yeah. All right. So you flutter out very quickly. One of the windows was even cracked open at the front to let in a cool evening breeze if you wish to exit that quickly. Otherwise, you can go through the front door of the inn.
No, I'll go through the door, that's fine.
All right. As you exit the door, it's quite early. It's dark on the streets, but you nearly bump into a town guard that's heading the same direction as you. And as you do that, and you swerve around him, you notice that there's a few guards that aren't of the same like personal guard, but more of like town guards standing near the front of this inn's entrance. And you see slumped on the ground, seemingly two bodies, similar garb as the personal guards that were there the evening previously, as if someone had slain them where they stood. And the town guard are coming over to investigate and take care of the situation. So as you go out and see that, that's where we'll end Corey for the evening. So if you want to find us a raid that we can pop into, the rest of the group in the room, as Corey leaves, is there anything you wish to do? Is it still fairly early in the morning?
Can we
I
send
wanna
down a
think-
note about breakfast coming to the room?
Down the pneumatic tube or down to the
Yeah.
innkeeper? Yeah. You can write a note and follow Fizz's example of plugging the hole on top to drop things down to the bottom.
Perfect, because I don't want to go eat downstairs.
All right. Anything else from Eljor or Fizz?
Yeah, I want to think. I want to see if I haven't heard of a sword like the sword the armor drew.
Yeah.
'Cause
You can roll history on that if you want to go off of what you know specifically. Otherwise, you can
Okay.
use that as something you investigate in the next day or so.
Sure, I'll do history for now and then just kind of keep it on the burner.
Yeah.
That is a 17.
17. So what you recall of the sword is that there are a few swords in Elven legend, not even something that's like of written in books, but there's swords of various nature that harness particular elements, very much like one would cast magic of a certain element. The swords are able to cut with that power, and not just oh, it's imbued with that power, but more so as like the raw element dealing incredible amounts of damage. So that blade to you, you could have assumed it to be um, a blade that could do the element's power at like imagine 7 or 10 swords worth of damage at one point. These were held by usually some of the fiercest and strongest leaders on the battlefield. They changed hands between elven clans many times, and there was great struggles of power thousands of years ago. And these swords basically said who was a ruling power in certain kingdoms back when elves were a bit more warring, and now elves are a bit less of that, and these seem to be more of the relic nature that you've
Relics of the
understood
past.
them to be. But you've never seen one in person, and none of your family or friends that you are aware of have seen them. You just only know like the stories that get passed on, like, oh, there was this one guy that did this one thing this one time, but that was my cousin's
One of
uncle's
those.
friend, like that type of thing.
I think the thing that would probably strike me the most when I'm thinking about that, the legends and the likelihood that this is one of those things, is A, this person is probably someone who was at one point at least very important, and B, he or she thought it was too much of a gift for me to give this sword to them. So there's a lot to process. So
To give the
maybe
sword that you
contemplative.
have in your possession versus the sword that they have in their possession.
Yeah, like they were
Yeah.
like, no, that's too much. But I have this crazy sort of legend, no big deal.
No big deal. All right.
Yeah, cool.
Anything else in the room as we deal with that sword, and as Corey goes out and figures out what's going on? Breakfast note from Lily. Fizz, are you doing anything?
I'd be like working on map and organizing my stuff.
Angrily,
Usual.
just like, oh, you're up too early?
No.
No? Okay. All right. Well, this is where we're going to end our evening at the start of the next day. The party being more or less hunted by, it seems to be a bounty hunter.
We're being
And
hunted. We're getting kidnapped and thrown in jails for being small.
this city isn't very respective of you being here. Let's just finish the quest and get out, right?
Yeah.
Sir Hoy, who are we raiding tonight?
We're gonna go visit our friend Crag, son of Horus.
Hey, Crag, son of Horus. Are we doing Carball tonight, or what's going on with Crag?
Yeah, it's Carball After Dark.
Perfect. So as I understand it, he also plays with people watching sometimes. So if you've got,
If you want to play, you can
if you,
join the Discord, and it's a private room, and play some Rocket League.
Rocket League. All right, let's go say hi to Crag and send some love from the Here Be Dragons crew. We will see you again in 2 weeks, and then also in 4 weeks when we have our special 5th weekend episode, the spooky episode. So go say hi to Crag for us. All right, I don't know where this timer is. Did you join us? Are we gone? Are we there?
I can push the button.
Push the
Anytime.
button. Let's do this. Let's do this, and
Yeah.
I'll go into our intro.
Raid.
Well, we're going into our intro. Everyone join the raid. Have fun. See you soon.